from the beginning.
And I was shown that that Lucifer would return, that the UN and the Vatican were going to be completely behind it, again, under false pretenses. He's going to show up and say, I'm here to save the day, right? And, okay, fine, you know.
Yeah, of course,
ahead,
you can say whatever you want.
But
I've always hated censorship. It's the internet.
Sometimes, you know, once they get you for your first love bite, well, it depends on how aware you are, right?
I forgot my bullets. I never had a gun. Here I am left standing. Am I the only one? For what I see, memories have guilted me. I'll never see the sun.
First of all, as you know, the Anunnaki and the Draco are enemies. Second of all, underneath Baghdad was a stargate that was created by the Anunnaki so that they could transfer from Jupiter to the Earth.
I'll never see the sun. I could just end it all, but the demons will have won.
Practitioners that, you know, some are good and some use their magic for good and to heal and to help, and others do use it for evil. And, you know, in some cases, you know, people really were
This is too much sometimes.
From the broken ruins of Babylon, this is End of Days Radio. The date is August 12th, 2017. I am your host. My name is Daniel, broadcasting all the way to you from the shimmering Emerald City right here in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. Today's guest is Adam Gorightly. Adam Gorightly's work has appeared for 2 decades in magazines, counterculture, publications, and conspiracy media. He writes about historical events and individuals that have not been given the proper respect or written about in a proper manner. Adam he's wrote quite a few books, and he is a very, very interesting guest. I'm super excited to talk to him, and I will be calling him in just a moment. And if you feel so inclined, feel free to stick around after the break when we do our news, wrap-up, and fan mail portion of the show, the wrap-up portion of the show. And I'm going to go ahead and give a call to Adam right now. Hello?
Hello.
Adam.
Yes.
Welcome
Howdy.
to the End of Days.
Thanks for having me on.
How are you doing today?
Oh, great.
Anything new in your very interesting life?
Are we live on the air now?
We are live.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things recently. I just appeared in a feature film, finished shooting about a week ago, where I play a kind of wisecracking Freemasonic fried dough truck operator.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, that's an interesting thing. A lot of film stuff this last month. I went down to L.A. and was filmed for another Manson documentary. I guess it'll be coming out next year on the History Channel. So, yeah, I've been busy.
Oh, wow. That sounds like it's going to be interesting. I can never seem to get enough, even though I've heard the story.
I can get enough. I've been so involved in it over the years, but hey, they asked me, and it was a good bunch to work with, the production companies that's producing this, and they're actually doing some new research for this documentary, which I thought was cool, following up on some leads, some of the unsolved Manson murders. They turned up some new evidence. So, yeah, it should be interesting.
Sweet. And I definitely like to hear more about that. But I'd like to start off by just kind of going back to the past and just so me and my listeners can learn a little bit more about you and where you're coming from. Where did you grow up and what was it like there?
Central California. Fresno. Do you know Fresno?
I have heard of that name before, yeah.
Or Bakersfield, or Modesto, or Merced. They're all kind of the same, Central Valley burgs. That's where I grew up, and in my late teens saw a UFO on LSD there, so it has some good memories.
A UFO on LSD. Do we have time to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I've talked about that quite a bit over the years. Actually, it was myself and a friend of mine. You want me to go into that right now?
That's really interesting, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, this was 1978, and I was 18. And myself and a good friend of mine, who I actually saw today, I had lunch with him, we were at a party house we used to go to quite a bit and dropped some acid. And before we did, the guy who was passing it out said, be careful with this stuff. It's double dipped. Well, we weren't too careful. We took it. And anyway, it started getting kind of intense there, you know. Myself and my friends, hey, we need to get out of here. It's a little bit too much commotion going on. So we went for a walk. This was in the evening now, in the summer in Fresno, and kind of wanted to get away from a lot of the houses and stuff. So we walked out to the ditch bank where we could, you know, get a little bit away from things. And right before we got on the ditch bank, we joked to ourselves, what if we saw a UFO right now? Nobody'd believe us, and we started laughing somewhat uncontrollably, which sometimes happens on vitamin L. And let me preface this by saying this was like 78, so both of us were really into, I wasn't too long after Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out, and we were always talking about this stuff. Yeah, man, we'd like to get picked up by a UFO and go see other worlds, you know. So that was definitely in our consciousness. So anyway, yeah, we joked right before we got to the ditch bank about seeing UFOs, and it wasn't 5-10 minutes later we saw our first UFO.
Can you describe it?
And what was odd about this experience, both of us had tripped many times, but never saw anything like we saw that night. And what we observed, we both were observing the same thing, you know. So if we were hallucinating, it was a dual hallucination. The first one, we saw several, but the first one was more of your classic saucer shaped. Then we saw one that was cigar shaped. Then they got progressively weirder till they were almost like cartoonish. One had a multicolored propeller. And I shit you not, this is not making any of this up. And yeah, we were blown away. And we, I don't remember the exact number now, but it was 7 or 8. I did a podcast probably about 10 years ago, if you go back to where I got my buddy Joe, who I experienced this with, and we talked about it. But yeah, so we saw those. Before we saw the first UFO, we had this feeling that, I should say after we saw the first UFO, we had this feeling that, they're trying to, whoever they were, trying to communicate to us in some way. We both, had the impression that they had come to take us away wherever that is. So we saw the series of UFOs. We walked about a mile and a half on the ditch bank, then came back around. The last UFO we saw was like this meteor that came down from the sky and was starting to burn up. Then it turned into a UFO, then disappeared. That was the last one. So we turned around and walked back, and when we got to the place where we saw the UFO, we saw this beam of light come down. But it was emanating from nothing we could see up there. So that was kind of the end of the experience. I'm not sure what that beam of light meant. If we had been in it, we would have been transported away or had some type of other strange experience. So after that, we wrestled with what the hell did we see? Initially I was going, yeah, man, we saw the aliens and UFOs, but my buddy was going, nah, man, I'm not so sure. Then later on, I wasn't so sure, and he came around to thinking, yeah, it was ETs and UFOs. And at the end of the day, we really weren't sure. But over the years, I've tried to figure out, what exactly went down. And one of the theories that makes the most sense is John Keel's super spectrum theory that he talked about, where if a lot of UFO encounters occur with people who have altered their consciousness somehow, not necessarily drugs, but there's different means. So a lot of people go into trance states and whatnot before their UFO encounters, and he called it the super spectrum theory, where if you're on, say, a power place, a UFO hotspot, and you have altered consciousness, perhaps through hallucinogenic drugs or some other way, you're able to see into windows, where you can look into another dimension. And I think that's kind of what might have happened that night with the combination of drugs and perhaps being in an energy spot where we'd squeegeed our third eyes enough to see beyond the veil and see whatever they were. I'm not sure if they were aliens, ET operated craft, or they were some kind of other critters, some other type of energies. I have no idea. Or if it was, it also seemed like a co-creative symbiotic experience. I told you what, some of the UFOs were cartoonish. It was almost like that trickster element of these energies or whatever they were, kind of playing a game with us maybe. But to kind of wind up this story, years later, I wrote a piece called "Were the Early UFO Contactees Ritual Magicians?" And I kind of toyed with the idea that what we experienced that night was like an unwitting magic ritual. Remember, I said before we even got to the ditch bank, what if we saw some UFOs, We kind of planted that seed, and that's what ritual magicians do. We did it unwittingly, but if you go into ritual magic, you have a something in mind that you want to achieve, and you use different ways to go forth about trying to bring that about through magical ritual. And sometimes different drugs are used, or meditation, or tantric sex, or these type of things. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We are indeed going down the rabbit hole tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when did you realize that you wanted to become a writer?
Back around that time in the late 70s, my friend I was with, he's a musician. I wrote a lot of songs with him back in the day. We still do stuff, so I was writing the lyrics and stuff back in the 70s. Then that kind of progressed. I tried different things. I was more in my 20s. I was toying around with trying to write fiction. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, I discovered the zine scene and started writing a lot of articles on the paranormal and conspiracies for a lot of the zines back in the day. That was before the internet became a thing, and zines were all the rage for a few years there in the late 80s, early 90s. That's where it seemed like all the undergroundish, cutting edge kind of stuff. People were producing these zines on not only conspiracies and paranormal, but punk music. So I was part of that scene back then, and in the mid-90s, I got interested in a lot of these conspiracies around the Manson family and started exploring that, and decided to write a book about the Manson family called The Shadow Over Santa Susana, and that was published in 2001 or so. So that was my first book.
Why was, in your opinion, or I suppose this would be in your book, regarding the Manson trial, what was going on there? Did something else get covered up?
Well, quite possibly so. I think what got glossed over or covered up was Manson's involvement with the beautiful people and the music industry and the black drug market, the black market for drugs, and the involvement of his connections that he had to different rock stars and people in the movie industry. That's kind of, I think, what got covered up. If something was covered up by Bugliosi, you kind of ignored all that stuff and basically focused on the helter-skelter thing, that the murders were random, but seems pretty obvious that the murders weren't random, that he knew those people, or knew people who knew, the people who ended up getting murdered. There's a lot to the story, but anyway, in a nutshell, yeah, I think it quite possibly was covered up. At least once again, certain things were ignored because it was more convenient that way, and a lot of the rich and famous, beautiful people didn't want their name dragged out in the papers and the media that they were associated with Manson.
Yeah, I've heard stuff about the possibility of the murders being connected to organized crime, or even a Hollywood elite, like you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not saying the Hollywood quote-unquote elite were involved in the murders themselves, but they were involved in a network of, some seedy drug dealing and those type of activities that went on.
How did Charles Manson get all these people to follow him?
Well, he was the prison was his schoolyard, and he soaked up the wisdom of jailhouse wisdom of a lot of people, and he learned how to manipulate and use people in prison. Spent most of his early life in reformatories and prisons, and there's some stories that he was part of a Scientology cell in prison where he rose to the highest level of Scientology, and that he also studied hypnotism and a lot of stuff like that. And so, and he was also, a musician, played the guitar reasonably okay, and had, some ambition to be a musician. So when he got out of prison, it was right in during the summer of love, and he grew his hair long and started playing, the guitar out in the Haight-Ashbury, and started attracting young runaways who he took under his wings. So, that's kind of how he built his family or his cult around himself, that he assumed the role of quote-unquote father for a lot of these wayward flower children. And there's a lot, but it goes into the story of how he got him to be followers and whatever, but it's classic methods of all cult leaders that Charlie utilized.
He kind of had a way with women too, didn't he?
Oh, certainly, yeah. And a lot of them, they were very young, underage girls who may have not even had sex before, and that was part of a ritual where he, a lot of these girls were from broken families or whatever, so he'd take them and have sex with them and say, visualize, me as your lover and your father were your old life, and your parents were hypocrites and all of this type of stuff, and now you're in a new family, the Manson family. And oftentimes they would, the girls would change their names and kind of adopt new identities. So that, all that's classic cult stuff. Oftentimes the cult leader is the one who is having sex with everyone.
Was he also giving them drugs like LSD?
Oh yeah, that was part of the programming. Definitely, yeah. That's once again to break down. He talked about ego death, and you have to kill your old ego, your past, to be born anew, into a tuned-in Manson family member who were leaving the old, society behind. So yeah, that all factored into it.
And often, looks like we have a phone call coming in. Let's see who this is. Hello, caller? Hello, caller, are you there? Hello?
Hi.
Hello, caller, do you have a question for our guest, Adam Gorightly?
I have a really good question here. My question is about, and this is gonna sound dumb, unicorns. And I really want Gary to hear this, because unicorns, now hear me out on this. I know that Gary, he's been, past the universe, and he knows that just because you've gone out, it not necessarily means that you not remember everything, but what if, you went there and a unicorn is actually just like an alien horse in a way. And so therefore that memory came back here. It came back here. And so I want to know if maybe possibly a unicorn could be like an alien horse in a way. And so therefore this theory came about here. And I just wanted to see his thoughts on that.
Sounds reasonable to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hang up on the unicorn gentleman. I apologize for that. I'm not sure if that was real or what, but We usually don't get calls like that. If that was real, I apologize to the caller, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. Adam?
Hard to tell. He did sound sincere, but it also sounded preposterous, so who knows?
Yeah, not really something we were talking about. But one thing I wanted to ask you, every so often, before that call came in, I was going to ask, we hear about Charles Manson trying to get his parole. What are your opinions on that? Does he deserve that at all? I really don't think so. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't grant him parole, no. End of story.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I don't know. I don't know why anybody would support that, but he does still have his fans.
It's the process, and people are entitled to parole hearings every so many years, And he just never would get out because of who he is, as far as seen as all the luggage that goes with the name Charles Manson. There's been people who have done a lot less, really, and been granted parole, but just because of who he is, Manson would never get out. I think nowadays, God, he's so old, he'd probably be relatively harmless, but he'll never get out.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just it's one of those things where our culture and society was actually changed by those events that happened. I mean, of course, you know that. You wrote an entire book on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what about this book? I was looking at this. It looks really interesting. Historia Discordia. What's that about?
Well, that's there's quite a bit there to describe what that is, but you have to start with my book on Kerry Thornley, the Prankster and the Conspiracy, which was published in 2003. You know who Kerry Thornley is? Probably not.
Unfortunately, no.
Back in the old zine days, I was talking about when I wrote for zines, I came across Kerry Thornley, and he was quite an interesting character. He wrote, he was kind of a legendary character. He, back in, I guess to start the story, back in 1958, he started a spoof religion called Discordianism, which was the worship of the Greek goddess of chaos and discord, Eris. And he founded this spoof religion with his friend Greg Hill. And this was basically an in-joke between them and a few other friends. So that was like 1958. In 59, Thornley goes into the Marines, where he met Lee Harvey Oswald. And got to know Oswald over the period of a couple months, and actually started writing a book about Oswald prior to the Kennedy assassination. It was a fictional book called The Idle Warrior, so that was kind of a curiosity about Kerry Thornley, that he was writing a book about Oswald before the assassination. Then in 1967, Thornley became a target of Jim Garrison, his old JFK assassination investigation, right? It was covered in JFK. And JFK, the movie by Oliver Stone.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah. It's kind of so-so, some of the information.
We'll have to get into that.
JFK isn't very accurate, but anyway, that's beside the point. But Garrison claimed at one time or another, or suspected, that Thornley was one of the notorious Oswald doubles, running around pretending to be Oswald prior to the assassination. And because Thornley and Oswald, they overlapped being in New Orleans in the same time in like 1963. Oswald was there for a short period, and Thornley had lived in the French Quarter for a couple of years during that period. And there were those that claimed they had seen Oswald and Thornley together, but Thornley denied that. So anyway, he became a target of the Garrison investigation, and he was called before the grand jury and all of this type of stuff. Ultimately, the Garrison investigation, when Clay Shaw was found not guilty of any crimes, that kind of ended the Garrison investigation, and the charges against Thornley went by the wayside as well. But as the time passed, we got into the early 70s, Thornley began to suspect that Garrison might have been right in some respect, that Thornley felt he had been involved in the assassination, but unwittingly that he was being set up in the same way that Oswald was presumably set up to be a fall guy for the assassination. And as time passed into the mid-70s, Thornley began to suspect that he and Oswald had been victims of MK-Ultra experimentation when they were both at Atsugi Base in Japan. And anyway, so there's all this colorful history about Kerry Thornley. And I wrote the book about him in 2003. But the other part of that is the Discordianism, this fake spoof religion, or maybe it is a real religion, that became a lot of network of people became involved and became Discordians and networked with Kerry Thornley and Greg Hill over the year. One of them was Robert Anton Wilson. And you familiar with the books, the Illuminatus trilogy?
Vaguely.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, a lot of that was based on Discordianism. A lot of the characters in the Illuminatus trilogy. So you had this kind of counterculture history going on, and the Discordians over the years, there's a lot of different artists and writers involved, and they had kind of a network. One of the things they did was called Operation Mindfuck, and it happened during the Garrison investigation, where they started sending spoof letters to different people, one of whom was Garrison, because at one point during the Garrison investigation, Garrison had all these different investigators tossing information at him, and one of these freelance investigators was belonged to the John Birch Society, and believed that the Illuminati was behind the JFK assassination. When Kerry Thornley and his cohorts heard that, they came up with a fake letterhead claiming to be the Bavarian Illuminati, and they all adopted Illuminati names and started sending all these prank letters. And a lot of this stuff got covered in the Illuminatus trilogy as well for people who are into this type of stuff. But so you asked, what's Historia Discordia? So when I started working on the prankster and the conspiracy, I met up with a guy named Bob Newport, who was friends with Thornley and Hill back in the day, and he ended up having what was called the Discordian Archives, which belonged to Greg Hill. Greg Hill died in 2000. And those archives have a lot of wonderful stuff in them, and that's material that ended up in the book Historia Discordia. And I also have a website as well called Historia Discordia for people who are into, Discordianism and a lot of the strange material strange and humorous material that came out of the Discordian Society. If you look on the web now and look for Discordians, there's thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of them spread around the world, and most of them can't agree on anything.
And in regards to an Illuminati, is there, in your opinion, is there actually an Illuminati out there, or is this just hearsay and rumors?
Somebody who looked deeply into that was Robert Anton Wilson, who wrote the Illuminatus trilogy, and dug deeply into the Illuminati over the years to find out if there was any truth in it. At the end of the day, he hadn't entirely made up his mind one way or another. But, basically what the Illuminati started was just an informal group by Adam Weishaupt at Ingolstadt University. Weishaupt was a Reformed Jesuit, and it was basically a group, this was during the Enlightenment, who were basically pushing for, separation of church and state and pushing democratic ideas and, women's rights, these type of things that were kind of underground, but they had informal meetings of their group. And eventually, Weishaupt got pushed out and he fled the country. He was seen as a radical, and this was, a lot of this stuff was going on around the French Revolution. So, people later claimed that the Illuminati was behind the French Revolution and all these other revolutionary things going on during the period. There's not much evidence, but, these myths later got wrapped around the characters like Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, that they were part of the Illuminati, and these the mythology kind of grew over the years. And I talked about the John Birch Society before. They were kind of an anti-communist group that started back in the 50s and 60s. You probably heard of them. They were one of the groups that were pushing the Illuminati mythology, that the secret Illuminati was behind the communists and all of this, basically trying to undermine the world with these radical ideas. And you saw a lot of this going on during the 60s with the anti-war movement and whatever. They were claiming that the communists were actually behind the anti-war movement, and on and on and on. And the Illuminati were seen as Jewish bankers. You might have heard that's how a lot of that started. And you still see this mythology going on today, that globalists, is another word for the Illuminati or the New World Order. And somebody like George Soros, there's a parallel there. He's your modern day evil Jewish banker that's behind all of this stuff. In other words, the Illuminati is just a mythology. You've seen, like in music video and over the years, a lot of these Illuminati symbols, these type of things that people go ape shit over. But
yeah, it's really hard to tell sometimes if what I'm looking at is people trying to get attention, be trendy, be cool, whatever, or if this is indeed some kind of message. Hey, we're out here somewhere.
I don't put much stock in that. They just, they've understood that people are looking for this stuff now, so let's give them what they want, or kind of toy around with them by, inserting all this imagery and stuff. So yeah, I'm skeptical, having looked into this stuff for many, many years.
Yeah,
The Illuminati is basically a catch-all for whatever people see as the evil controllers, whether they're the modern day globalists or the New World Order or corporations, military industrial complex. It's a catch-all. Whoever your globalist boogeyman might be,
and it's a always moving target, because one day, it's the Jews, the next day, it's the Vatican, the next day it's somebody else, it's the Freemasons, it's whoever. There's so many different groups getting blamed, and I'm not sure if really any of them are what we would think of as an actual Illuminati, like you talked about earlier, Adam Weishaupt, Bavarian Illuminati.
Now, there are conspiracies that go on with different groups, but, the theory that makes the most sense to me, and they kind of got into this in the Illuminatus trilogy and also a book called Mumbo Jumbo, I forget the author's name, that it's really a whole bunch of different competing conspiracies throughout history's different works, different groups conspiring against one another, and there's a lot of randomness and chaos behind the whole thing. To think that there's one single group that are pulling all the strings of the world and making everything happen, seems a bit far-fetched.
Now, who was James Shelby, and what was his mystical war?
James Shelby Downard. Well, he's another one who bought into a lot of the Illuminati stuff. Interesting character. He first came to attention of a lot of people, into conspiracies and whatnot in the late 70s or so, when he and a guy named Michael Hoffman authored a book called King Kill 33. You might have heard that theory before, that the Kennedy assassination was basically a Freemasonic ritual, and that it was conducted on the 33rd degree latitude, and they also talked about the magic of different names involved in these ritual murders, and once again the 33rd latitude, where a bunch of stuff happened, like the atomic bomb tests happened on the 33 degree latitude, the Roswell crash happened on the 33rd degree, the Disneyland is on the 33rd degree. A lot of weird stuff happened supposedly on those latitude lines. And so, their theory with this King Kill 33 thing was that, it was all done on as part of this Freemasonic ritual called the Killing of the King, conducted on the 33rd degree latitude, 33 being the highest degree in Freemasonry. So kind of a far-out idea, theory, but it seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and so the mythology around James Shelby Downard kind of grew over the years, and people weren't really sure if he was a made-up character, if he actually existed. That's kind of the reason why I wrote that book. It's a slim book of material, but he indeed existed. He was a colorful character. He many years drove around the country with his Airstream trailer, battling with Freemasons and looking for secret underground caverns. He was very much into the Forteana and these type of things. And Downard eventually he died in the late 90s. So that book's kind of about his different theories and little biographical information as well.
He seemed to really think something was there with these Freemasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you look hard enough for anything and start connecting the dots, you'll find dots to connect. A good example of that, I wrote a piece years ago on Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut and connections to possible connections to monarch mind control programming. And still a lot of people quote that article, and a lot of people use the information I told for even YouTube videos these days. But what I was pretty well versed. I guess that movie came out in the late 90s. I forget now. I was pretty well versed in a lot of the lore behind the Monarch mind control program, supposed program, and the history of MK Ultra. And when I watched that movie, I started seeing a lot of little hints that that's what the film was about, was monarch mind control, and they use different things in that film. Like there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland imagery and these type of things, which all relate to what was coming out in the 90s with these stories about monarch mind control program. It's been years since I wrote that article, but I found a number of things in the film, and that was something that really, like I said, resonated with people. Now, whether Kubrick was believed in monarch mind control programming, or if he was just inserting a lot of that material to see if people would pick up on it, I'm not sure. But sometimes it's kind of a mental exercise if you come to a conclusion that there was the Freemasonic ritual behind JFK's assassination on the 33rd degree, then you'll start looking for things that will confirm that if you're going to write a story about it. It's called confirmation bias.
Yeah, that does seem to be something that I run into a lot in this world of conspiracies, and not to say that it's all fake or even mostly fake, but yeah, I do run into that a lot.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of monarch programming and mind control and things like that, a lot of people out there, they think that a lot of these pop stars like Britney Spears, Katy Perry, so many of them, I can't even name them all, Kesha, so many are monarch mind-controlled slaves. How do you feel about that? Are they?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't say definitively for sure. I don't know definitively, but I'm dubious. I mean, they started the whole thing that all these kids who worked on came out of Disney were these monarch mind control slaves, such as Britney and the hell's her name? Miley Cyrus, but
oh yeah, that's one of the biggest ones right there, Miley.
Yeah,
all that weird pedo sort of imagery. It's a little disturbing, but hey, maybe that's
yeah, it is. Definitely trying to get people's attentions. That's for sure. I mean, whether there's some smoking gun that they were victims of mind control, we don't know that for sure. I guess it's possible, but I don't stay up at night worrying about it too much.
How about, well, this is probably the biggest conspiracy that's gone on since the JFK assassination. How do you feel about the 9/11 conspiracy theories?
I never really got into that too much, really can't speak on it other than, there was the Noam Chomsky, you know who he is? You probably heard the name.
Yeah, heard the name.
He's a political observer, analyst. Speaks out against fascism and whatever guise it comes in. And he got a lot of flack because, and you can see some videos on YouTube where people asked him about 9/11, and he kind of poo-pooed it, and all of a sudden, well, he's in on the conspiracy as well. But what his argument was, people are coming up with all these different theories about 9/11, controlled demolition, and all kinds of stuff. And he said, well, if you're throwing these theories at me, but I don't have the time or wherewithal to look at them. What you should do is basically do a peer review, to actual physicists and architects and scientists to put your views across. And I've never really seen that done to prove any of these, theories about controlled demolition or these type of things. You probably have the idea that I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I have been called that over the years. But at this point in my life, I'm skeptical about a lot of this stuff, having looked at it for years and years and years.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way a little bit, because I've been doing this show for 4.5 years now, and there was a point when I believed almost anything that anybody told me. But after being in it for a while and going over the same things over and over again, you maybe get kind of sick of it a little bit. You want to see more proof.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would say I've been following the whole Trump-Russia thing, and there's a lot. There's a lot there.
You just read my mind, because my next question was, what do you think about Donald Trump?
Well, yeah, he's an asshole, but beyond that, it appears that he's in deep doo-doo with a lot of stuff related to the election. The possibility of collaborating with the Russians, but also, they're with these investigations, they're digging into his whole business dealings going back decades now, because it reaches back decades with his involvement with different Russians buying property from him, and involved in a lot of different stuff. But I could go on and on about these investigations, but I don't know if you want to go there.
What are your theories on why is it that the American people elected Donald Trump? What was it that they needed where they would vote for him?
Yeah, part of it, he did speak to a lot of people in middle America that are unemployed and feel like they've been getting fucked around, and that buy into a lot of the stuff, where it's we're selling our people of our country down the road and giving better deals with all these global trade deals, whatever it is, NAFTA or whatever. There's part of it that people in middle America have been forgotten, and they just want to get returned back to the good old days when America was great again. And that there's also that undercurrent of the kind of racist thing going on there as well, that with entitlements and those type of issues. So he spoke to those people, I guess, but that was part of it. He did find his core group that think he's great, but there's also a lot of manipulation going on with the election, with the Russian interference and fucking around with social media and targeting, and a lot of that's, I think, will really come out over time. And you talk about conspiracy theories. There was a lot of conspiracy theories injected into the election with Pizzagate and the Seth Rich murders. These were all injected into the election at critical times. I think that there was really it might have turned the tide, with the election. I guess we'll never really know for sure, but I think we'll find out more in years to come about how really deeply the Russians were involved in also working with Trump's campaign to do all of these things, and if they even got as far as actually tampering votes, who knows?
Does he have a chance of being reelected?
No, he's not. I can't see him making it through his term here.
Adam, growing up, were you raised with any sort of religious upbringing, and do you believe in a God?
Not really. Excuse me. Not really raised with any religious upbringing. Getting back to LSD, on one of my early trips, I felt the universe was one, and that we were all part of one greater whole, and I felt that was God, that I connected with whatever that force is. God's a name for it. The universal life force or whatever. I think there's an energy running through all things that you can tap in for either good or ill, to use that energy, and it runs through the earth and all things. And all of this doesn't mean that there's necessarily an afterlife, but so you asked me if I believe in God. I believe, I don't either, believe or disbelieve, I guess.
Kind of agnostic.
Yeah, but once again, there's, the religion called pantheism, which it's kind of, if anything, I'm a pantheist, and that's kind of the Native American religion, that the Earth Mother is the God, that, the energy of Earth is what we should follow a path of heart, like Castaneda talked about in the Don Juan books. So yeah, I mean, I can't buy into the patriarchal, male god. That's why I'm interested in Discordianism. We had a crazy woman as God seemed to make more sense. But anyway, I don't think I answered your question. But there it is.
In regards to the psychedelic experience, in your opinion, should everybody have a psychedelic experience at least once in their life?
Maybe not. Maybe some people should never do that because they're it'll push them over the edge if they're predisposed, in their family with psychotic disorders and that type of stuff. Back in the day, when, late 60s, when Timothy Leary was going around promoting drugs, or promoting LSD use, he appeared before I think it was Robert Kennedy's, there was a subcommittee, they were looking on LSD, and what he talked about was kind of like a driver's license, that it was administered and you took tests, and they did some psychological analysis of people and prepared them if they're going to go on an LSD trip. Another way of looking at that is the shamans who assist people in ayahuasca or those different type of rituals. That there's a process you go through and you prepare yourself and you're ready for, approaching it sort of like a vision quest. So I think, to do it properly, we need to prepare ourselves, and also there's some segments of society, some people who should never do it because they're, predisposed. But I think it is a very valuable experience. It has been, for me, a lot of mine back when I was a kid was pretty haphazard, but it, kind of worked out. My crazy psychedelic UFO experience definitely changed my life and kind of propelled me on the path that I'm on, have been on, since that time. Being interested in a lot of these different things, questioning consensus reality, and interested in paranormal and UFOs and conspiracy theories, these type of things. I think that I can point back to the psychedelic experience that was partially, responsible for my life's course.
One thing that does This bothered me for quite a long time. Is this whole? I'm sure you've seen the footage. The whole Bohemian Grove thing, where these guys they're in some park or natural reserve or whatever that place is, and they're doing all kinds of strange things. Are the world's elite engaged in some kind of black magic ceremony?
Well, Alex Jones thinks so. He snuck in there. No, it's just a bunch of grown men, and they are political elites going away for a weekend. It happens on the Russian River in California here. It's north of San Francisco. And that's been going on since they call it the Bohemian Grove, because it was started by a bunch of Bohemian artists back in the day. And they do this big ritual with an owl, and they, what do they call that? The sacrifice is like the sacrifice of human worry and our problems and all of that. That's what the effigy they burn in that ritual. I forget what the exact wording they use. It seems pretty bizarre and whatever, and you hear all these crazy stories about Bohemian Grove. I guess we'd have to sneak in there to find out. There's, have you read any John Ronson?
No.
Oh, God, you should read John Ronson. Tried to get him as a guest. He recently wrote a book called The Elephant in the Room that had to do with the alt-right and, the rise of Trump and the election, but that's a separate thing. But back in the day being late 90s, 2000, John Ronson snuck into Bohemian Grove with Alex Jones.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
And ended up writing about that in a book called, I think it's called Them. Ronson was looking at different extremist groups and whatnot. And he's been interviewed a lot of places. He was recently on Joe Rogan. But anyway, Ronson and Alex Jones had totally different perceptions of what went on in Bohemian Grove because, it seems, Alex Jones wanted to find stuff there that, once again, reinforced his confirmation bias. And maybe you can say that about John Ronson because he didn't see anything that he thought was particularly alarming. Jones produced a film of it. He snuck a camera in there, and I forget, it's called Secret Rituals of Bohemian Grove or something, with a shaky camera, and you see them going through the ritual where they're burning an effigy. But it's a long-standing tradition. It started with the Bohemian artists. You can find some old photos. It's in the redwoods there, and as time progressed over the years, they invited journalists and writers and politicians, and over time it evolved to, a lot of these high-level politicians go in there, the Kissingers of the world, ex-presidents are part of the people who show up for that weekend of Bohemian Grove. And part of it is this weird ritual.
And
a lot of it's drinking and pissing on the redwood trees and who knows what all else.
And in regards to Alex Jones, he's really quite the character, but what do you feel is really going on with him? Is he just completely nuts? Is he an agent? Is he just trying to make money?
I think he got co-opted along the way. When he first started years ago, was after I first became aware of him after the whole Waco thing went down. And he helped raise money to rebuild the church at, the Koresh's bunch. And I think he was pretty sincere at that point. He's not a dumb dude either. He's pretty smart, but Nowadays, I think most recently he's been, I say co-opted. It's either for the money or who knows. I'm pretty sure that, I suspect that once again, a few of these outlets like Alex Jones or Jeff Rentz, who knows how deeply they might have been co-opted by certain forces. Let's just leave it at that.
So in that regard, are there disinformation agents out there trying to alter our perceptions of things?
Well, certainly, disinformation comes from a Russian word, and you've seen I have been for about 10 years now, and I'm almost done, a book on UFO disinformation, and that was something that definitely went on within ufology back in the, going back to the late 70s and 80s. There was a lot of disinformation going on for perhaps a lot of reasons, partly to muddy the waters, to conceal, the testing of actual secret earthly craft as opposed to alien craft, with I think there's definitely a disinformation campaign going on with a lot of these stories that emerged during the election, and this was more like political disinformation. You saw it a lot around the Trump campaign. For instance, the thing that Ted Cruz's father was involved in the Kennedy assassination somehow. If you recall that whole thing, that happened around the same time of the Republican primaries. That Ted Cruz is really the biggest challenger to Donald Trump, and a lot of this information went through like Roger Stone, who's a longtime Trump buddy, and Alex Jones pumped it out, but also the National Enquirer is really, if you want to find political propaganda, I guess is a better way of terming it, or disinformation. I think National Enquirer is kind of the disinformation arm of the Trump these days.
Yeah, it's so strange how Alex Jones was this big conspiracy guy, and during the last election, all he could talk about was Donald Trump and getting Donald Trump in the presidency. It was really odd.
Well, he put a lot of stock in Trump too. That Trump was the guy who was the truth teller. He was anti-globalist. He was whatever this and that. So Alex Jones made a big investment in Donald Trump, and I don't see him backing off from that. There's been no sign of it, even though it seems, Trump's doing all this crazy shit that Alex Jones justifies it, and any criticism of Trump, anybody in whoever from whatever side of the political spectrum that goes against Trump, they're seen as whatever, the Illuminati, the globalist conspiracy.
And we know that you've at least experimented with certain psychedelics when you were young, or at least LSD, but how do you feel about the use of pot or cannabis?
Well, I think it's fine, It's a good moneymaker, too. It's becoming more illegal in other states, and I don't even smoke pot these days, but I see no problem with it.
So, in your opinion, should things like cannabis and LSD and mushrooms and psychedelic drugs, should they be legal?
Whoa. you just threw a whole list of stuff there. I'd have to look at each one separately. I think marijuana should be, similar to like alcohol. You need to be a certain age, and you probably shouldn't be operating heavy equipment or those type of things. I mean, it gets into a lot of the regulations and laws that arise out of this stuff. Yeah, I think psychedelics should be legal, and being illegal, that might. One problem that solves is that you're getting good stuff that's not tainted with God knows. You can determine you're actually getting actual LSD or ecstasy, and it's not some something that's going to kill you. So there'd be some control there. It's an education thing too, and I mean that's a problem. People being educated about things. I think basically I'm kind of a libertarian in spirit, so I don't like to have all these different laws telling us what we can or can't do with our own bodies or brains. But I see the problems there too with making all these things legal as well. It's a slippery slope.
And earlier you talked a little bit about the possibility of aliens and UFOs and perhaps some sort of co-creative phenomena. Mm-hmm. That's super interesting. Well, are there aliens out there, or maybe are there aliens in another dimension that's right next to ours, or is there something going on here that is just so alien we can't even grasp what's going on?
Perhaps a good book that kind of looked into aliens on Earth they're not necessarily from other planets, that there's been entities and spirits or whatever since time immemorial. Different books have looked at that, like Jacques Vallée, his book Passport to Magonia. There was a guy named Matt Toney's wrote an interesting book called The Crypto-Terrestrials, that basically this is a phenomenon. These entities exist on Earth. Maybe they live within the Earth, or there's these they're extra dimensional. It's like when I talked about the acid trip where we saw the UFOs or something. That experience is akin, that altered state is like what psychics see. They're able to tune into different wavelengths and frequencies to be able to look beyond the veil to see what normally isn't there. Sometimes drugs might allow you to do that, meditation, to tune in and open up these doorways or these window areas where we can observe these entities, whatever they might be. They might be part of us. It might be collective unconsciousness that we're attached to whatever this is, that perhaps in some way we're co-creating it, projecting it. I mean, you see that in the history of UFOs, how they evolved over the years to basically what the popular conception of an alien was back in the 50s. What they were seeing were these long-haired blonde, or these long long blonde-haired, human-looking people coming from Venus or Mars. As time progressed and we found out, well, it's probably not too probable they're coming from Venus and Mars. They must be from, farther out in the galaxy. And so our conception of the entities changed. But that seems like a process that's been going on a long time. And I was talking about Passport to Magonia. Jacques Vallée saw parallels with the fairy folk of Celtic mythology, or even going back to the Bible. They talked about these different entities that seemed to come out of the heavens and were sometimes riding chariots of some sort. So this has been a phenomenon that's been with us here on Earth for a long, long time. And, what I'm talking about here are some possible explanations, which is not to discount, the possibilities that actual ETs have visited the planet.
I'm sure you've heard of not Alex Jones, but David Icke and his whole reptilian thing. Is that really just too insane, or is there any possibility that could be true? Well, yeah, I think it's kind of crazy, but it might be to him a valid experience that, we talk about human perception and altering your consciousness or seeing things in a different way, Perhaps Alex Jones and other people were picking up on some presence in human beings that he felt was evil, and for some reason they, at least for a fleeting glance or for a period of time, appeared as reptilians to him. Who knows? I'm not, I think that was his own experience. Whether that's a reality for all of us is a different question. But a lot of the stuff he talks about, I don't really buy into it, but that doesn't mean it isn't a real experience to him. And if that makes any sense to you. No, that makes perfect sense, because it falls back into maybe we are in some kind of co-creative situation. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and if you look for this stuff too, you'll find it. There was like a craze for a while. I don't know if people are still doing this, but posting all these YouTube videos. They'd see something on TV where somebody's eyes looked weird or something, whether it was Hillary Clinton or George Bush, and it might have been a camera effect or whatever the hell it was, or some artifact, through the video. And those became kind of memes, wow, more shape-shifting reptilians. And Adam, how do you feel about how quickly things seem to change? A lot of the stuff you talk about, it happened in the 60s and 70s, and I was born in the 80s, and I remember watching shows like Full House, and I could never imagine when I was a kid that we would ever be fighting and talking about things like transgendered bathrooms. Has the world changed for you as much as it's changed for me? Does it go a little too quickly sometimes? How do you feel about that? Well, there's been transgender people for a long time. That's not anything new. It just gets politicized. But yeah, during my lifetime, there's been a lot of change to the internet. Certainly, God, it's prior to the internet. I started writing with a typewriter. And when we look in here, the late 80s or so, computers were starting to become the thing, and I couldn't imagine. I was so comfortable with a typewriter. No way. I'm not getting involved with that computer stuff. As soon as I did and started writing on a computer, it was like a revelation to me. It made my life so much easier, and I could be so much more productive, and then with the internet itself, how we become a global community. Anything like GPS now, driving anywhere, who actually looks at a physical map anymore? Oh, I remember using those Thomas Guide things. Yeah. Well, yeah, sure, you have them, but
I carry one Thomas Guide with me, but I never end up using it.
And speaking of writing and writing habits, what sort of advice do you have for people out there that might be interested in writing and becoming a writer?
You need to write a lot. That sounds like a simple answer. If you really want to do it, you need to do it every day. That doesn't mean if you're going on a trip or whatever, you need to, that's up to you, but try to sit down and, just write every day. That's what I tell some people. If you're working on a book and it's like one of those days, I just can't get into it, fire up, open up the document and maybe just do a word check or do some little editing, and then you might get on a roll or something. But it's a process of staying at it, doing it every day, whether it's an hour or several hours, because you're not always, sometimes it comes real fast and smooth. Other times it's a kind of a battle to get the right wording and these type of things, but it's all a process. So you just, it's something you just need to stick with.
That's good advice. Is it true that there have been some really mysterious deaths in Disneyland?
You're looking at some of my old articles. God, I wrote that in about 1991, so go to my website and check that out. Yeah, there have been a lot of odd stuff. I don't know if I remember all of those I quoted in my article, but yeah, on the website there's a piece called "The Disneyland Dead," and this was back in the 90s. I started hearing this stuff. I had a friend who worked at Disneyland. He was a conductor on the monorail, of all things. He started telling me these stories of these different deaths in Disneyland that kind of got covered up. There was like, there was a series of them. One was they had a ride called the People Mover, where one of the people who worked at Disneyland got caught between the two people movers, and she was squished, and they called her, she died, and they called her the Squish Girl, and apparently she haunted whatever that ride was at that time. And there was a whole series of them that kind of got covered up over the years, just because Disneyland wanted to give that vibe that everything was all a fun time there, nothing bad was going to happen to you. But there's been a whole series of deaths there over the years. I don't know about recent years. I wrote that in like the 90s, and I talked about half a dozen. There's been a few since then as well. They try to keep it under wraps anytime there's something goes on at Disneyland, whether it's deaths or there's also been, this going back a couple decades now, there was some gang violence that broke out at Disneyland on a couple of occasions, probably back in the 1990s, and eventually they cracked down on it. And you can't get into Disneyland nowadays if you're flying any colors,
Oh, I imagine it's kind of I hear all kinds of things about Disneyland. Like they have this army of cats that lives in the basement, and they come out at night and kill off all the rodents. And it's really kind of a funny thing. It's a whole subculture.
There's a funny story. A couple of friends told me they went to Disneyland. This was back in the late 70s, 80s. We were all stoners, and they went there. And so they were out in the parking lot smoking a doober, and they had some cops that ran around on these drove around on these mopeds. So the mopeds were lower to the ground, so you couldn't see them coming. But so anyway, this cop on the moped busted them for smoking pot. So took my two friends into an underground area in Disneyland. Actually, the guy on the moped passed my friends over to some Keystone Cops. You'll see Keystone Cops at Disneyland. Those are actual cops. At least they were in the 70s. And then they took them down into the bowels of Disneyland, where they actually have a jail underneath there, when they arrest people. And they interrogated my friends for a couple hours and figured they were harmless and let them go.
Well, it could have gone a lot worse, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Disneyland, there's the famous Club 33. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's private membership, and you can't get in there unless you know somebody or you're somebody who's been admitted to the club. And a lot of people claim, it's a secret Freemasonic club, and that Walt Disney was a closet Freemason and all this stuff. So there's a lot of mystery behind Club 33 too. It's the only place in Disneyland, at least in recent years, where you could get alcohol. I still think, you can't get alcohol in Disneyland except for in Club 33.
And Adam, are you a TV guy? Are you following any of these popular TV shows like a Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or anything like that?
Love Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's a great one. Are you watching the spin-off Better Call Saul?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty damn good too.
Is that currently your favorite?
Well, I love Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay. I've heard good things about that one.
Oh, yeah, that's great. They're doing some wild stuff. Breaking Bad, Twin Peaks, there's a few things there. I thought House of Cards was good till this year. They kind of sucked. They had one episode where they went to a pseudo Bohemian Grove. That was kind of interesting, one of the episodes. So, yeah, there's a few of these series I like.
How about movies? Has there been anything in recent years that has caught your attention or anything that you like? I'm kind of more into the older movies, but do you like any of the newer ones?
I don't keep up on, I don't really see the recent movies when they're released. I'll catch them a few years down the road. So, God, I can't think of anything in recent times that, like I said, I don't stay up. If it's a Tarantino movie or something, I'll catch it. But
you like Tarantino?
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill and quite a few others.
Yeah, so many classics.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Adam, we are approaching the end of the interview, but I wanted to go ahead and just open things up and give you an opportunity to, if you'd like to, go ahead and get on the soapbox one last time and just say whatever you would like to say to my audience, and feel free to also follow that up with anything at all that you would like to promote or plug.
Well, I'm on no soapbox, but if people want to check out different websites and stuff, I actually have a podcast I've started here recently.
Oh, wow.
Called Radio Go-Go. And part of the idea of doing it, I have a bunch of old, obscure kind of different audio files and stuff if I wanted to share with folks and add some commentary. But also there's different interviews. And I just put out this podcast every now and then. But you can find it's on SoundCloud and YouTube. So there's that. There's AdamGorightly.com. I have my Historia Discordia site. There's a blog called Untamed Dimensions, which was named after another podcast I did about 10 years ago. And you can find those. There's a web page for that, too, if you look for Adam Gorightly and Untamed Dimensions. I would peddle my latest book, but I have nothing out quite yet. So, yeah, that's basically it.
And I'm sorry, what was the next book that you're going to release again?
What I'm working on now with friend Greg Bishop is a book on the UFO contactees, the early contactees, kind of a who's who of that period. Coffee table book with a lot of cool photos in it. So that will be next. I have a few books lined up, but hopefully that'll be out before the year's end.
Sweet. I'm going to have to use my Amazon Prime membership and take advantage.
Hey, you do that.
All right, Adam. I had a great time tonight. I learned quite a bit. I would definitely like to do this again sometime down the road, maybe after you've released your next book or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you know when that's out. We'll stay in touch.
Okay, awesome. And until then, you have an awesome night.
Okay. Thanks, Daniel.
No problem. You have a good night, Adam. Bye.
See ya.
And there you have it. That was Adam Gorightly. What a nice guy, right? So much to talk about with him, too. I'm definitely going to pick up the Historia Discordia book first. That one has really caught my attention. Also, what's this guy's name? James Shelby? What's going on there? Holy crap, that sounds like an interesting story. Highly advise everybody to do what I'm doing and check out this guy's work. And I don't know who's been calling. Somebody's like, they're acting like they're, I don't know what they're doing. They keep trying to call. I don't know if it's the person that called earlier with the unicorn question or what, but somebody keeps trying to call, and I'm not sure what exactly you want. Are you trying to prank the show? Did you really have a question? If you would like to call in once I come back from break and identify yourself and explain what exactly you're doing, then you can go ahead and do that. Remember that call-in number is 209-348-9810, or just add NinjaShoe777 on Skype. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and join me back here. We have a lot to talk about and a lot to get into, so I'll see you in, 10 minutes? And welcome back to End of Days Radio. I am your host, Daniel, broadcasting to you all the way from the shimmering Emerald City right here in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. How are you? Are you good? I'm glad. So, earlier, during the beginning of the interview, there was a particular gentleman that called in, and I'm not sure if he was trying to prank the show or what, but he had a very odd question about unicorns, and after he called in, a different number kept calling in, and I was a little bit hesitant to answer because I was thinking, hey, this might be another prank call or something like that, so I did not pick up. But I'm curious, what was going on there? Is that somebody that is trying to prank the show, or do they have a real question? Is there something they'd like to ask me or talk to me? By all means, go ahead and call in. Go ahead and do it right now. Call in, and we can talk about alien horses or whatever it is that is on your mind and you would like to talk about. So go ahead, do it. Go ahead and call in. And while I'm waiting, if you do decide, I will go ahead and talk about some other things. So first thing I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the news for today. There is one particular thing in the news that has caught my attention. It appears that they're actually going to be making a new Karate Kid show. And this might be old news to you at this point, but it's still important, and I should still talk about it because I love the Karate Kid. That was definitely one of my favorite movies growing up, as it probably was yours. I watched Karate Kid 1, I watched Karate Kid 2, I watched Karate Kid 3, I watched Karate Kid 4. I did not watch, or I'm not, sorry, there was no Karate Kid 4. It's called The Next Karate Kid. I never watched the new one with the Will Smith son, the boy, Jaden Pinkett Smith or whatever his name is. I never watched that because I was really racially insulted. I am actually quarter Asian. I'm part Japanese, and I was really offended that they were calling a movie about Kung Fu the Karate Kid. I just, to me, that feels like, sometimes people can be a little insensitive and they'll say like, oh, I don't know what race that person is, if they're Chinese, Japanese, or whatever, or they all look the same, or things like that. A lot of people, they don't care if you're Guamanian or Vietnamese or Korean or whatever. They just kind of lump all Asians together and call them Chinese. So it kind of reminded me of that sort of thing. So I was really unimpressed. I was really unimpressed with the way that they were presenting that movie. It's my understanding in China they actually called the movie The Kung Fu Kid. And I'm wondering why they did not do that here. Why would they do something so dumb and racially insensitive and call Kung Fu karate? Now, karate kind of is Kung Fu. Not that you guys care about this at all, but actually karate was invented because there was a Chinese guy that came to, I don't know where it was Japan or Okinawa, and he was practicing Kung Fu, and somebody saw him, or maybe it was the guy that was doing it that did this, I don't know, but he saw the guy doing Kung Fu, and he came up with a martial art called karate, which actually meant the Chinese fist. So karate is indeed from China, but it's not a Chinese martial art at this point. It's an Okinawan Japanese martial art. So the way that they were calling that movie The Karate Kid when it was Jackie Chan and they were doing Kung Fu, it was just really obnoxious. But anyways, that's why I didn't watch that. And I do really look forward to this new thing with Johnny and Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio, and whatever the guy's name that played Johnny. They're both going to be involved in the project, and I understand that they're actually going to have their own martial arts schools in the show, and they're going to have their own students and stuff like that, and they're going to actually fight and have conflict. I mean, that sounds like a dream come true, right? That sounds like a dream come true. I'm so excited about this. That sounds like better than something that I could even come up with, but it's probably following the trend of shows like Full House that came back, and I think there's a few other ones too. But I'm excited for it. I'm gonna check it out. There was a music video that came out years ago. I can't remember what the band was called, but the music video was called Sweep the Leg, and they had Kreese, and they had Daniel, and they had Johnny, and they had a bunch of the Cobra Kai guys in that music video. And it was super funny. It was super awesome that they were actually able to get all those people together. And if you haven't seen it yet, go on YouTube right now and watch it, because it'll, if you're from that era like me, you will absolutely be delighted by it. If you're a child of the 80s, if you're like me, and you were like, when it was 1989, you were like 8 years old or 7 years old. I'm actually more of a child of the 90s, to be totally clear. I'm more from that era of early 90s. That's when I was a kid, so I still experience the era of innocence, but I can't say that I'm like a kid from the 70s or anything like that. That's a whole different ball game. Anyways, let's move on. So the barbecue ban has been lifted. Apparently, maybe because it rained last night, or because a lot of that British Columbia smoke has drifted off, from the British Columbia fires. I can now grill again, and I took full advantage today. I grilled salmon. I grilled burgers. Oh, I forgot to grill my kibasas. Damn it. No, they're still in the fridge. Damn it, how did I forget? I grilled French fries. I grilled... What else did I grill? I grilled corn on the cob. I grilled... What else did I make? Mushrooms and onions and... Oh, I love to grill. Barbecue food is so good. I heard it can cause cancer, but I love it so much I don't even give a fuck. I'm going to keep barbecuing. I'm going to keep eating barbecued food and barbecuing a bunch of stuff and just eating it throughout the week. Oh, man. I should be barbecuing right now. I should have my mic right next to the barbecuer, and I should be grilling as I do the show. Talk about your perfect life, right? What am I going to do next? I don't even know. I heard you can actually make a grilled cheese sandwich, so I might try that. That sounds like a good idea. I really like grilling salmon. Oh man, salmon is so good. So, I can grill again. I'm happy. And, let's see, what else do we have here? I've got a letter from a listener. And by the way, what happened to the caller? Where did they go? I'm on Skype. I'm on my profile it says I'm online. So what's the deal? Why don't you call again? You seem to really want to call earlier when I had a guest on. Are you just trying to disrupt the show? Am I really that popular now that people are actually starting to do that? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's kind of a little bit of a bad thing because this is what I've kind of always been worried about. I've been worried about having those lines open and having people just, whatever reason, they're bored, they want attention, they hate me because I talk about hairy armpit hippie chicks. Who knows? Maybe I said something that offended them at some point, which is unfortunately highly likely in my case. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but people, please don't do that. Go mess with some other show. It's just me here. I'm not getting paid, and if you do that, it's going to make it hard for everybody else because I kind of had to start ignoring the calls, and for all I know, I could have actually missed out on an actual call because I didn't want to expose my guest to somebody being immature and obnoxious and, give them a bad experience. And I'm not really sure I understand why people do stuff like that. It's so easy nowadays to go ahead and do your own show. You know what I mean? If you're bored, if you want to be part of things, why not just go and start your own show? So many people have been coming to me saying, Daniel, thank you so much for, giving advice about starting podcasts on the air and your encouragement and stuff like that. And that makes me feel so good. That makes me feel so good to hear that anybody out there is thinking about doing what I'm doing. Because, first of all, I want you to listen to the show. I'd like you to like the show, and I want you to listen to it. But you know what would be great is if you at some point did a show like this on your own, and you became the person that's going out there and spreading some truth. Yeah, I might not be quite as open-minded as I was 2-3 years ago. I might be slightly more skeptical, but it doesn't change the fact that we have a message that we got to get out there, that there is a world out there of paranormal conspiracy magic. There is a world of consciousness to explore, and this stuff is real, and we need to wake up the rest of the planet to this stuff. And I've seen quite a bit of a change, but with that change also comes a lot of obnoxious, fakey, foo-foo, fake conspiracies, disinformation, and stuff like that. So we have to be careful. We have to put our discerning goggles on, and we have to go in armed with the knowledge that anything that we look at could be real or it could be fake. We have to use logic, discernment to figure out what's real and what's not, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy seeing through any deception, and even when you get through the first layer of deception, there's usually another one right underneath. And the best liars do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll tell you 99% the truth, and then 1% will be false. 1% will be false, and somehow that will screw up the whole thing, and it will mess with your belief system and send you down a false rabbit trail. That's how it works. And sometimes they want to just bombard you with disinformation and bullshit to get you to give up, to get you to say to yourself, you know what, this stuff is fake, I'm tired of it, I'm chasing my tail, it's time to stop, it's time to just start watching football again. And speaking of football, guess who's back? Yeah, that's right, the Seattle Seahawks are back, and they just played a preseason game where they're going to tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm going to listen. I got some work to do. I'm doing the show tomorrow, but go Seahawks. Oh man, this again, right? Being plastered next to the radio or in front of the TV, just biting my nails, wondering what's going to happen. How far are we going to make it this time? I know you guys out there that don't even like football, or perhaps are fans of the Packers or the Raiders, you might not like this sort of talk, but at least I'm watching, at least I'm participating, at least I'm not completely consumed with reptilians and voodoo and Bohemian Grove and Hillary Clinton's pubes and things like that. At least I'm not completely consumed with that stuff. And speaking of Hillary Clinton, now I want to talk about Hillary Clinton a little bit. So somebody the other day, there was some interview on what is this thing? Truth Frequency Radio or something like that. It's a network of paranormal conspiracy shows. It's over in the UK. It looks like a pretty good network and everything, but one of their fans was just taking this interview one of those guys did with an ex-CIA person that somehow knows a lot about Hillary, and he was just like spamming it all over Belgab, and he even put it in the thread that's about, oh, somebody's calling. Let's see here. I'll have to get back to that in a second. Hello.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey there, buddy.
How you doing?
Doing good. I'm glad to see it's you calling. I recognize that number and not whatever the heck was going on earlier.
What area code was it?
Let's see here. It looks like, I mean, you never know. A lot of these numbers are just spoofed online, like they're...
Yeah. Oh, totally.
But
totally.
one's a 620-719. There's a 620 and a 719.
I see. I don't recognize those area codes. But it sounded back south, down south.
Yeah, whoever it was sounded drunk or retarded or something.
Totally.
Do you think that unicorns could be like an alien horse? Like,
yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, your guest earlier was a great guest. Boy, that was quite an interesting interview.
Yeah, I thought so too. I'm definitely going to read one or two of his books. Definitely caught my interest. Not your typical alien UFO or conspiracy guy or anything like that. His topics are very original.
He had a lot of information from the early 80s and 70s and back into the 60s that was, I think if you read that book, Cosmic Trigger by Robert Anton Wilson, it would give you a pretty wide understanding. That's all kind of the left side of the conspiracy. You know, conspiracy theories have like a right side and a left side to them if you go back. And I thought it was awesome because he's covering the left side. You don't hear the left side very often.
Wait, what do you mean left side versus right side? What does that mean exactly?
It means like more liberal, and I wouldn't say democratic, but like Democrats, but they're more left leaning, like California West Coast type of characters like Timothy Leary, Robert Anton Wilson, Terence McKenna. Those are all open-minded, towards drugs and all these strange topics. Where right-wing conspiracy theories are more like Satan's, running the whole thing at the top, and they don't talk about expanding your consciousness. It's more like the dry Bilderbergers, Rockefellers, Rothschilds kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm kind of wondering where I would fit in there. Probably somewhere in the middle.
Probably, but Principia Discordia, where he was talking about the Discordian societies, that's all pretty fascinating stuff, because the Discordian society was created like at the height of Jim Garrison's investigation into President Kennedy, and the very first copies of their Bible, the Discordian Bible, they printed on Jim Garrison's copy machine. So there's some weird coincidences that were going on about the Illuminati. At one point, they pretended that they were the Illuminati,
Yeah, unfortunately, I end up wondering how much of our current conspiracy stuff is coming from groups like that were just kind of spreading around prankster sort of fake news.
Well, I don't know if it was fake news as much as it was they were the counterculture. They were going against the establishment. They saw themselves as the good guys that were trying to expand people's consciousness back there in the 60s and the 70s. So they were coming up with some pretty weird radical ideas, and they were heavily influenced by Crowley and the OTO and Golden Dawn and stuff too, and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So if you look into, like I said, Robert Anton Wilson was one of my favorite writers on that. It sounds just like the stuff your guest was the expert on.
You've read some Robert Anton Wilson?
Oh, as much as I could get my hands on. He has a Illuminatus trilogy that's 3 thick books, and it's a fictional work. And it's the craziest work of fiction that has the Illuminati and all these different elements where he works fantasy with fiction. But he wrote a couple, that was in the 70s, and then he wrote a couple later on that were like sequels to him during the 80s. Wilson got popular again. But he also wrote a bunch of books, Daniel, that were really cool about how the establishment controls your mind, how to get out of the mind control. He was good friends with Timothy Leary and John Lilly, and, you know, he knew all those guys. And so all Wilson's books are just a fount of knowledge. They're incredible.
Yeah, that's something that I'm definitely gonna have to explore. It's funny because there's no end to this stuff. There's always another trail to follow. There's always another connection. There's always another place to take it. It never really ends.
Totally. And I think you mentioned like Mae Brussel earlier.
The guest might have.
Good. Or no, you mentioned it before in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mae Brussels and her. I believe she was on a radio station. I don't know exactly where she was or how much reach she had. I forgot, but she was
in California, and she was working with Kerry Thornley.
Oh, okay.
When you were talking earlier about Kerry Thornley.
Oh wow, okay, it's all connected.
He had a radio show too out in California in the 70s, and Mae Brussel, she was talking about how it was a right-wing conspiracy, because the John Birchers were talking about focusing on the communists and the left wing, where Mae Brussel and Kerry Thornley, they were talking about the conspiracy was a right wing, where they were really fascists that were bringing in a right-wing style of government. So when you dig into the conspiracy literature, it gets pretty freaking weird. And Mae Brussels believed that she was being followed and harassed by whoever it was, you know.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. She had her house broken into a number of times, stuff rearranged. And I think some people, she believed that they were going to get her.
You know what I'm afraid of, Todd? You know what I'm afraid of happening?
What's that?
I'm not really afraid of them, like, killing me or hurting me or, like, breaking in my house and messing things up. What I'm afraid of is somehow they're going to, like, go in and kill me, and then they're going to find my pornography collection on my computer.
Yeah. Spread that around. This is who he really was, you know. He wasn't in it for the truth. This is what this guy was doing. Yeah. Something like that. The setup.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be horrible. They're going to find out that I have all sorts of bestiality pornography on my computer. I'm just joking. But you were saying. You were saying, Todd.
But I had to call in for the news roundup.
Does that mean you would like to do a news story?
Yeah, do a news story with you.
Okay, so this isn't really an actual article, but as you know, there has been some major heat going on, major heat brewing between President Donald J. Trump and the leader of North Korea. I believe his name is Hong Kong Yum. Hong Jung Hum Yum. Hong Kong Yum.
I heard of that guy, yeah.
Eek Yum Kum. But anyways, apparently they're making some very aggressive threats at each other.
But they've been doing that for a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's
Korea
Kim Jong-un. Sorry about that.
Yeah. They've been doing that a long time, Korea has, and we've been giving those guys weapons. You know, most of the world wouldn't even have weapons if we hadn't personally handed it to them. And so they want money from us, you know, North Korea, because we give them billions in aid when we're friends with them. So they can sit and rattle swords over there, and then our government can use it to fearmonger the citizens, right? They get everybody on the verge of thinking it's World War III, and you'll roll over to anything, you know?
Yeah, that's something that I have wondered about. A few months ago, I got into this whole thing where I was watching videos and reading articles about the possibility that nuclear weapons are actually completely fake, and they're just used as this propaganda mechanism to keep the whole world from having another world war.
Yeah, I don't know. You said you were looking into that. I never did look into that, nuclear weapons being real or not. But the thing is that the Korean conflict, you know, we've got big military bases over in South Korea, a bunch of them, and we basically ran the South Korean side, the United States, since the Korean War. You know, we prop them up, we defend them the whole time since the 50s. We've been paying that out of our tax dollars to sustain that conflict. It's in the military,
for sure.
Industrial establishment's best interest to keep it going because they can keep selling weapons. And so it isn't that they're not a real threat, but we get pinched by them, and you know, the military industrial complex takes advantage of the fear.
It's kind of like a flat Earth where nobody's actually, well, a few people have, but most people have not been into space, and they can't say firsthand the Earth is the Earth is flat, the Earth is round. The same thing applies to nuclear weapons. None of us have seen a nuclear weapon go off firsthand. None of us can really explain the technology in the sense that we would really understand and know that this is something that actually would work. We kind of just have to take the word of leaders and scientists that are talking, well, at least in the case of scientists, they're usually talking over our heads.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I was listening to the Higher Side Chats, one of his interviews with, and I forget the name of the guy, so pardon me, but he was an expert kind of on chemtrails, you know, does a lot of activist speaking on chemtrails. And he was saying if you follow the patents that they're sending in the last 3 years, they basically are rushing the patents through on the new geoengineering program that they're going to have, you know, rolled out. And he says if you look at the patents, they're so advanced of the chemicals, the chemical process, what they do, that the average person can't even understand what it is that they're supposedly, you know, is being patented and put into production and used on us here soon. So that was a pretty interesting article, because if the information's too complex to understand, what are you going to do with it, you know?
Yeah, you know, what's funny is I was at my job the other day, and there's a guy that works there, and he's probably like, I don't know how old this guy is. He's like in his early 20s, and we were sitting there, we were talking about cars and, you know, frivolous everyday things, and the sky was just littered with chemtrails, and I just said, hey, look at that. Isn't that kind of weird? What do you suppose that is? And I was kind of playing a game. I mean, I wasn't messing with him or anything, but I was just kind of experimenting, seeing how this guy's going to react when I start throwing these fringe sort of weird topics at him. Is he going to be open to it? Is he going to freak out? And his reaction was he just didn't really want to look at that. He didn't deny it. He looked it up on his phone, stuff about contrails and stuff like that, and then he just sort of said, "Look, I'm here, and I only really care about making money and things that have to do with me, and I don't really care about anything like that." And I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of people. They're just more concerned about, getting their next paycheck and frivolous sort of everyday things.
Probably. Everywhere I go, though, if I get the chance, I slip in the conversation about the conspiracy or the, what do you know? I'll ask everybody, oh, you don't know nothing? Let me tell you all about it. So I go around telling people everything I know about all that stuff if they haven't been introduced, and try to bring them up to speed fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can do that, but if you do that, you have to just not care what people think, because people are going to judge you. They're going to say you're a foil hat guy.
Yeah. Well, if you come off, like knowing some things and actually present a decent case, they might listen to you. So
maybe if you can at least plant a seed.
Plant a seed. Get to know what they're what they're interested in about it. My wife never wanted to hear it when I first met her. Didn't believe it until I slowly had a chance to point out this and that and this and that. And pretty soon, she's smart. She's like, "Holy shit, it is happening."
You just took her and you tied her to a chair and put her in front of the computer and taped her eyes open and made her watch Alex Jones for 16 hours.
But I dropped in exactly. So I just played that in the background.
Keep the eyes moist.
Subliminally. Played it at night quietly. Semi-audible.
You know what's funny is I often criticize Alex Jones and call him a disinfo agent and things like that, but the fact that he actually got his kids taken away, that really makes me question a lot of the conspiracy stuff, because you'd think that if he really is connected, he'd be able to make a phone call and just, get that woman killed or get control and custody of his kids or something. You wouldn't think that he would have to adhere to any of that.
I hear you, but I don't know. If you listen close over the years, like you said, he's heavily aligned with the right wing, with Republican, more Republican leaning. Lots of NRA and that type of endorsement. Now he plays their commercial, on the NRA commercials all the time. If you listen lately, him and Mike Cernovich claim that they're going to try to kill them and the president. I don't know if you listened lately to Jones.
Not really. Sometimes I watched a lot of him during the election because I was getting really into supporting Donald Trump, and I was watching Alex Jones every day, and I was getting really into it. And that's probably the most into Alex Jones that I've ever been. And then after the election, I sort of snapped out of it. But I haven't really watched in a while. I've just kind of drifted away from that whole thing. That's interesting though. He actually thinks that they're gonna try to kill him.
That's the very latest. The past couple of weeks or few weeks, he's been saying, pushing they're going to kill Trump real hard. They have they're watching it. They're catching all these CIA agents on TV talking about getting rid of the president. So he's been pushing that real hard. And then about the last couple of weeks, week or so, he's been saying that they want to kill him. And he's brought Mike Cernovich on. Do you know Mike Cernovich?
No.
He writes a blog, he does a news blog somewhere. So he's a reporter that Alex Jones has aligned himself with, and going to have a second show. Jones has expanded his operation where he's going to have 5 different hosts that are going to be going, and he wants a 24-hour news station.
Yeah, he's got all those good-looking, attractive females on there. He's gone the Fox News route.
Well, sex sells. You got to have your attractive girls in there if you're going to tell the news. I mean,
yeah, just so long as they're not like sitting on his lap backstage or anything like that.
But they claim to have a source in the White House, Daniel, that's feeding them information, and they probably do. It could be maybe like Steve Bannon or something that runs Breitbart News, one of Trump's closest advisors.
Oh, looks like we have another call coming in, Todd. Sorry to cut you off. Caller, are you there?
No, I can jump back.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
It's going good. I have a question for Gary. I heard him bring up God like so many times. Well, if you believe in aliens, how the hell does anybody believe in God?
Who's Gary?
Mad Martian.
Gary's not on tonight.
Gary's been on. I've been watching End of Days for a while.
You've got the wrong show, buddy. Gary was on my former broadcasting partner Michael Deacon's show. I think it was last night or the night before.
Right. Okay, Michael Deacon. They're not doing it right now because
they probably are. Go to his website and get on there and call him up, and then you'll be on the right track.
Okay, well, what's your radio station?
This is End of Days Radio, and I'm Daniel. I used to do a show. We used to do the show together.
Okay.
So that's why you're confused, and that's not entirely your fault. So that's not your fault. It's confusing.
Right. Yeah, I just Googled it to try to find the phone number, and then so I could get in and try to. All right. Well, right on.
Yeah, all right. Well, now that I see that you're actually a normal person, I thank you for calling in, and of course, please check out my show when you have the time.
Well, what's your show about? I mean, it's got to be pretty similar.
Kind of. It's along the same lines. We talk about conspiracies and aliens and all that fun stuff, and I don't really get along with Gary though, so you're not going to hear him on this show.
Most people don't.
Yeah, he's a little shot out of a cannon.
Oh shit, that's saying little.
What's your name, sir?
Justin.
All right, Justin. Feel free to call in anytime. I'm going to let you go.
All right, later.
All right, later. You still there, Todd?
Yeah, I'm here. Right on. You did a public service announcement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get back to the other show.
Some confusion going on there. He thinks Gary's on right now. That's what I thought. I mean, he called in, and I thought maybe it was a prank call or something, but it's just he's just confused. So no, nothing against him.
Oh, I thought Gary was pretty funny at times, where he'd say shit like, "I'm not gonna fuzzy your nuts" or some shit like that. I love that shit.
Yeah, it was definitely funny at times. It was just, I mean, how much Gary can you put up with when you're listening to 2 hours of just ranting, and it would just bore the crap out of me. I've had a lifetime enough of that stuff for a lifetime.
I hear you. It was still pretty funny at moments, though. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that it's funny. It's just when somebody starts being disrespectful towards me, like regardless of if it's funny or not,
yeah.
It's just like, if he would actually let me get a word in and ask him a question or talk, it'd be different. But he just thinks he can go on air and just rant and rave and talk over people and just be an asshole. He's never going to get called on. I'm one of the few people that actually calls him on it, and I'm proud of that fact. And if Gary wants to, if he wants to keep talking smack about me and he wants to confront me about it, he's had an open challenge to call into the show for over half a year now, and he's never picked up the phone. He's afraid. He's a pussy. He's afraid to confront me, and I'd like that to go on public record. I put that challenge out a long time ago for him to come on the show and explain to me why he's going around talking smack about me when I gave him so much opportunity so much exposure and opportunity in the past, and have been nothing but nice to him.
Yeah, that's too strange. He's going around talking smack about you. That's strange.
He's an asshole. Look what he does. He spends his entire life obsessing over Richard C. Hoagland. It's like, get a life, man. Richard C. Hoagland's not that important. There's other stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I was wondering. I think your guest, he was on Clyde's show, earlier tonight. Adam Gorightly. I think he's been on Clyde's show a number of times, by the way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when I'll usually look up a guest and try to do as much research on them as time permits, and I do believe I did see him on the Clyde Lewis's show. What's Clyde's show called again?
Ground Zero.
Yeah, that's right. I do believe I've seen him on there. That show does a lot of good interviews.
Oh heck yeah, Clyde does incredible interviews on, so many of the best. But I wasn't going to keep you, Daniel. I just had to call in for the news roundup. Did we get North Korea before I let you go? That thing's been going on since 1950s. The conflict there and us having a military base there, and they use it every few years. They wheel it back out to scare everybody. It's like that kabuki dance where the thing comes out and dances and it's putting on the show. Everybody's going, whoa. And so it's a distraction, too, to keep you focused on the big issues, the real issues.
Yeah, that makes quite a bit of sense, and definitely fits into my worldview. And I also have to wonder if maybe Trump is just kind of calling the bluff. Maybe he just thinks that, hey, we are giving, what's his name? Kim Jong-un, maybe we're giving him too much credit, and maybe it's time to call him out on it, because if we call him out on it and nothing happens, then a lot of people are going to be quite a bit less afraid of him.
Yeah, but I think it's more like the thing where they have, it's a game they play. It's a world game that they play. They use that country to manipulate us into doing, the globalists built China back in the 70s. All the Western powers built China, gave them all the weapons. And then they made sure that their surrounding countries, North Korea had weapons. And now we're fighting against the weapons that we've given them.
Yeah, the very similar thing happened with the Muslim terrorist, with Osama bin Laden. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just a vicious cycle that keeps going, and we keep having to fight these guys. And
hey, Todd,
you can see how this outcome. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a movie called, what is it called? Something in Mexico. It's a sequel to that movie, Desperado.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
What's that?
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, the Johnny Depp character. Johnny Depp, he plays a CIA agent who does exactly what you're talking about. He goes around and manipulates world leaders and sells them weapons and gets this guy against this guy and just manipulates the global playing field.
Yeah, that movie was an excellent example of how we represent, spread our policies around, and they use agents to go down and do that stuff. That's all based on real characters. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. I think that's a Robert Rodriguez movie, isn't it?
Robert Rodriguez, yep.
Yeah, he makes some really cool movies. Go ahead.
On that topic, Venezuela's collapsing. Its government's collapsed. Its currency's collapsed. It's sinking into martial law. It's basically.
Hey, Todd, we're having
rebel.
Hey, yeah. Todd, we're having a member of a former or current member of Anonymous on tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Wow.
Back to back. Got a show almost every day this week. What was that?
Is he in the open now? Does he go by Anonymous, or is he in the open?
His name is Greg House, and he has been on quite a few different. Greg House, and he has actually been on quite a few different programs, and he's going to be joining us tomorrow. He's kind of like the spokesperson for Anonymous. He's like their public ambassador.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And ask questions about these, some of these cryptic statements that have been released by Anonymous and what they think about the world and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that sounds really interesting.
Like I said, it's going to be a kick-ass week.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. You were talking about Terence McKenna earlier. Which book did you read?
I read True Hallucinations and what's it called? Food of the Gods. I think
The
that's what
Gods.
it's called. Food
Yeah,
of the
I
Gods.
read both those. I think I still have Food of the Gods.
And then I
book.
also, you know what a torrent is, right? It's like you go to the Pirate Bay, a place like that, and you can download different movies and TV shows and stuff illegally. You know about that, right?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Well, I found one that was just packed full of like hours and hours and hours of Terence McKenna's speeches over the years and his books and stuff like that. And I spent like a whole summer just going through that stuff, and that's part of the reason why I'm here today, because going through all that stuff, it just really blew my damn mind.
Totally. And you know, he's the offshoot of like Robert Anton Wilson and a few writers during that period. You got to go check out Robert Anton Wilson if you get a chance, because before Terence McKenna, there's Robert Anton Wilson, and he covers like the 70s into the 80s, about the same time as Terence McKenna was coming out with his books. But real interesting, you know, because Terence McKenna was talking about the changing of your consciousness with well, I don't know if it was ayahuasca or he was using all kinds of stuff, mushrooms, and he was exploring South America and using all their different concoctions, actually, if I remember right. Pretty much everything he'd get his hands on.
I'm looking at some of his work right now. Some of this stuff looks really interesting. I don't know why I've never read any of this, but I'm looking at the Illuminatus trilogy. I'm looking at this Sex, Something, and Magic book. Like, this is Sex, Drugs, and Magic by Robert Anton Wilson, 1973. Why haven't I read this?
Because it's left. It's like it's harder to find the underground counterculture stuff almost than it is the right-wing conspiracy, you know, angle. There's tons of the right-wing stuff. There's a lot less of the left-wing, and the left-wing's better in a lot of respects.
Todd, why don't you?
Funnier there.
Todd, why don't you write a book?
I guess it's not the right time in my life. I'm so busy working, trying to make ends meet, but I could definitely write one with all the wacky stuff I've done and seen.
Maybe we should do this. Maybe you should write a book and not release it or anything, and have it hidden somewhere, and tell me the location. And if anything bad ever happens to you, I'll go get your book and I'll read it.
There you go. Totally. You remember how you were telling me to throw your body on the White House lawn if you die? You know, tell Trump you're a hero.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'll have you come and take my body up to the top of Mount Olympus here and perform the rites. You know.
Oh, you want me to do a ritual?
That's right. Yeah.
Am I doing this with your actual body or with your ashes? Because that could be pretty heavy.
I'll try to get pre-cremated before you come, yeah.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. I don't want to have to do that myself. That could be difficult.
Send me off into the abyss, yeah.
All right, Todd. I've had you on the line for half an hour now. I'm gonna have to let you go, buddy.
Yeah, sounds good. You have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. All right. Good night.
Peace.
And there he was. That was Todd the Bod coming at us all the way from the beautiful, dry, desolate Utah. Coming at us from Mormon country. Todd's a good guy. I talk to him a lot. Oh, there's so much to talk about here. How long have we been on air? 2 hours and 22 minutes. How much time do I have to get into all this? So before Todd called, I was starting to talk a little bit about this interview by another show that I became aware of, where this ex-CIA lady was talking about Hillary Clinton and all her terrible connections, and she's part of this or that, and Hillary Clinton obviously is a very controversial character. During the election, I was very anti-Hillary. I mean, I was Trump. Let's get Trump elected. He's going to fix the economy. He's going to clean the swamp. Blah, blah, blah. I was really into it. I never bought into any of the allegations of racism or anything like that. I still don't. I don't think Donald Trump is racist. I don't know. I mean, people keep trying to convince me, and you know, all the evidence is it's very loose. It's like, oh, he's racist because some of his fans, like, he's catering to their racial inclinations. That's pretty hard to prove. I mean, unless I see him say or do something overtly racist, I don't think that label is fair. And it's not. To the contrary of what a lot of people out there believe, that just hate Donald Trump for no reason and just think he's an asshole. And maybe he is a little bit sometimes. I mean, it's Donald Trump, but anyways, that's besides the point. I'm not here to promote or bash Trump. I'm talking about Hillary Clinton. So during the election and before that, and even now, I was always very anti-Hillary. I've always thought she seemed like a very evil person. I heard of her being involved with Whitewater, with Benghazi, even having people like, I think the guy's name was James Foster or something like that, having these people killed for digging too deep, for being involved with certain things. I've heard so many things about her, and I can't really say what is true and what's not about this woman. I've heard everything from she's corrupt to the idea that she's some kind of clone, and she dries up and withers away every 5 years and the clone needs to be replaced. I've heard all kinds of things like this. I've also heard of her being a pedophile and being part of these elite orgies and molestations and ritual abuse and things like that. And I don't really know if any of that is true. I know she's corrupt. I know things like Whitewater are real, but is she the mastermind and head of this huge conspiracy that I don't know. How would I prove that? So much of this stuff is seeded by the left or the right, or, you know what I'm talking about? She has a lot of people that hate her. And I get that. I hate her. I hate her. And like a lot of people do. And I'm sorry if you're a fan of Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying these things to make you angry or to disagree with you or anything like that. I'm just being honest. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be honest on the radio. And I don't like her. But I'm not going to start saying that she's a child molester or anything like that, because I haven't seen solid evidence to say that. I haven't seen enough. I think that's a very strong allegation. If you're going to make an allegation like that, you better have something to back it up with. So that makes me a little uncomfortable, saying she's like a child molester or this or that. Now, I do know that Jennifer Flowers said that Bill told her that Hillary's bisexual and he does not have any problem with that. That's well known. I believe that because, well, it's only obvious that it's true. The Clintons are perverts. Bill and Hillary Clinton are perverts. And what does that mean exactly? Well, it just means that everybody's got something, right? Like, everybody's got some kind of weird sexual inclination, or they have dreams about certain things, or repressed stuff going on, or everybody has something. Like, some people, it's real extreme, where they're into these weird fetishes like rubber or fire, or they fall in love with a bridge or a horse or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Sexuality can get very weird. And why that is, I have no idea. It must have something to do with evolution. Maybe it has something to do with our reptilian DNA. I really don't know. But human beings are really horny monkeys when you really think about it, right? It's true. We try to downplay, to marginalize this and call people perverts and you know, get off this sort of talk. We try to do that, but at the end of the day, everybody's got something. And Hillary and Bill, they have their perversions just like anybody else. And what you're seeing is, you're just seeing what happens when two people get a lot of power. What do they do with it? They get involved with all these orgies and stuff like that. I'm not saying everybody would do that. I'm not saying it's normal, but I'm saying this is what happens. These people were put under a spotlight, and all of their weird sexual inclinations came out in the open and were dragged out into the light. And that's, to me, that's all that it is. It's just two people that are a little perverted, and because they have so many people going through their dirty laundry, it all just comes to light. Like, supposedly Hillary and one of her assistants, this Huma Abedin, they have some kind of relationship going on behind the scenes. And coincidentally, Huma Abedin was married to Anthony Weiner, who does what? He plays with his wiener, and he shows his wiener, and his name is Wiener, because God or whoever out there has a freaking sense of humor. It's called divine synchronicity. Wiener likes to show his wiener. It's magical. Wiener with his wiener. In fact, Huma Abedin caught Wiener showing his wiener to an underage girl on his phone when they were in bed, and that's when she finally left him, and good for her. Good for her for recognizing that relationship was fucked and getting up and leaving. I do respect that. And I don't know what's up with this Huma Abedin. I mean, she's not a terribly awful-looking woman. I suppose in certain lighting you could say that she's pretty. She seems somewhat intelligent. Why did she end up with Anthony Weiner? I've also heard she has a file on her computer that just has tons of dirt on the Clintons on it, and she calls it her life insurance. I don't know if that's true, but yeah. Bill, Hillary, perverts. It's already been proven. But why continue to pick on them? They are not relevant. They are not relevant anymore. The election's over. Is Hillary going to come back? She's too old. Is Bill going to come back? I doubt it. I'm sure they have plenty of speaking engagements to be involved in, and who knows, maybe Chelsea will run for president one day, and we can see that ugly mug up there. I'm sorry, Chelsea, I'm just joking. You're not ugly. You just need a little plastic surgery. I'm being mean. Stop, Daniel, stop. I'm listening to the little devil on my shoulder instead of the angel. They're both whispering in my ear, and I'm talking in the microphone, and sometimes I go right, sometimes I go left. I just don't know what to do sometimes. Okay, what else we got? This is a letter from a guy named Samuel. He says, Dear Daniel, please tell us your full unfiltered opinion on the Gaza Strip and Israel in general. Ooh, yikes. Do I really want to talk about that? That's super controversial. I don't know if I want to go there, Samuel. Look, what I can say is that the entire situation makes me very sad. And no, I'm not going to be one of these people that rides the fence and is afraid to have an opinion one way or the other. I just want them to stop. I want them to stop killing. I want them to stop arguing. I want them to stop being so caught up in religious ideals. I think that in the case of Israel and the Gaza Strip, any Western influence on these people, any sort of like materialistic, atheistic type of influence, I think is super good for them. In fact, why don't we just like go over there and drop pamphlets on them or give them some free iPads or something? Is there some way we can just make all these super religious, so-called spiritual people over there much more materialistic all at once so that they don't care about some temple or some strip of land or anything like that? Is there a way that we could do that? There was a time in my life where I really bought into the Rothschilds Jewish conspiracy thing. You know, there's tons and tons of evidence for it. But at the end of the day, can you really say that it's the Jews? Not really, because it's not. It's the Freemasons. It's the Vatican. It's the Tula Society. There's so many different influences and so many different sections and parts of this so-called Illuminati. It doesn't really make sense to blame the people that follow the ways of Moses. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. They're not really intrinsically evil or against the rest of the world. Most of them are just normal people that celebrate Hanukkah and they have their beliefs, and that's it. They don't think that they're better than anybody or anything like that. Is there something to be said about the Rothschilds in Israel and what they're doing over there, and the Star of David and the flag and the fact that was their family seal in the 15th century, and really has nothing to do with David. Yeah, there's something weird going on there. There's some very weird occult sort of shit going on, and a lot of control and a lot of power and a lot of stuff like that. There's obviously stuff like that going on. But that doesn't mean that Billy down the street that is Jewish deserves to be punished for things that some super rich people are doing somewhere, because super rich people are shitty in general. It doesn't matter if you're super rich and you're Jewish, or you're super rich and you're Muslim, or you're super rich and you're atheist. A lot of people that are super rich are just assholes. I'm not saying that money's evil or power is evil. It just tends to bring out the worst in certain individuals. Not everybody, but certain individuals. Money, power, success, it can be a magnifying glass to who you really are. It brings out who you really are. So that's how I feel about the situation. And my opinion changes a lot. Like I said, there was a time when I was like, oh, it's the Rothschilds and this whole thing they're doing with the banks, and we got to do something about these guys. But now it's kind of like, yeah, they sort of play their part, and they're part of the grand fucked up situation that's going on. And yeah, they need to stop hoarding all the money and power and wealth, and quit being such a-holes, and quit summoning Satan or Lucifer or whatever the hell they're doing behind closed doors. But I'm not super hyper focused on them. I'm not blaming them for everything. That was the problem with Hitler. That was the problem with him. He was putting it all on this one group of people, and it can't all be put on one group of people, because there are many groups of people that have done horrible things. Once again, the Vatican, the Catholic Church, they burned a bunch of Jewish people at one point. So in a lot of cases, it was completely reversed, where the Catholics were doing awful things to people. And once again, I'm not putting it all on the Catholics either. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking this or that group and saying they're to blame for everything. I'm not going to even blame these alien groups that supposedly exist. I'm not going to say it's the reptilians, or it's the mantises, or it's the human-looking aliens that are the leaders, and they control the reptilians, and who knows? It all sounds like a friggin' sci-fi novel. Yes, I believe that there are reptilian aliens out there, in some form, somewhere. Yes, I believe there's probably different kinds, like mantis aliens, and human-looking ones, and stuff like that, but other than that, I'm not saying that they're responsible for this or that. That's a real big leap in judgment. I need to see more evidence. I need I need Jesus to show up on my porch and just explain everything to me. Because how do I explain it? I suppose, like I was saying earlier, there was a point where my mind became so open that I had to take a step back. I had to say, Daniel, maybe it's not so bad to spend a little bit more time on the ground floor. Maybe it's not so bad to just watch a little bit of football and not worry about the reptilians or them eating people or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to ask yourself, okay, what do I actually believe? What is true? What do I absolutely know is true? What are my beliefs? What type of reality do I live in? Do I live in a reality where there's this Illuminati out there and I'm the center of this huge gang stalking thing and I'm trying to escape the Matrix? Is that what it is? Is it really that negative? Probably not. The truth is, things are not that marginalized. They're not that easy to explain. They're not that simple. Things aren't that simple. That's the truth. Things aren't that simple. I'm not saying this or that isn't real. That's the last thing that I'm going to say. Because I know that this crazy shit is real. I have had telepathic experiences. I have had a UFO 15 feet away from my face. I've seen things that make no sense and experienced things that make no sense to the point where I just had to stop doing whatever I was doing. And that's the reality that I know to be true. But I can't let those experiences cause me to lose my grip on reality either. It's not easy. Holy crap, how long was I just talking about that? I was being so serious. Why so serious? Ugh. Nothing like a long-winded speech, right? Anyways, let's move on from this. Let's move on to some more lighter topics, right? This is so negative, but it's important, and we need to talk about it sometimes. All right, what else do we have going on? Looks like I have another, and you know what, Samuel, thanks for that letter. That really prompted some real talk from me, so thank you. I do thank you all for your emails. Remember, that's Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. That's Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. What else is going on? I have a letter from Steve. It says, "Hey, Danny, tell me what is better and why, Star Trek or Star Wars?" Star Trek or Star Wars? Wow, that is a hard question. Both of them are pretty good. I think that both Star Trek and Star Wars both have things about them that make them important to fans of science fiction and society and even spiritual type of things. I think there's a lot there. I mean, Star Trek has had, 20 movies or something like that? And Star Wars, they're now expanding on that now. They're really expanding on it. So, as a big fan of both... Oh, somebody's calling. What? It said... What just happened? It said, I almost got a call from the Get in the Corner podcast. That's the podcast with Yuck Nasty and Dog a Baby and those guys. Should I try calling them back? Maybe they're on air. Fuck it, let's do it. Give them a free plug at least. Get into Corner. Ring in. They're probably not going to pick up. Stuff like this rarely goes well when you just decide to do things randomly. Hello?
The person whom you're trying to reach.
Nope, that didn't work. They're probably actually interviewing somebody, so it's probably better not to bug them. But check out the Get in the Corner comedy podcast. Getting a lot of calls on Skype tonight. What's going on? Am I getting super popular? Am I going to get to sit at the cool table soon with the football players and the cheerleaders and their skivvies? Is that going to happen to me? Is that going to happen to Daniel? So, what do I like better, Star Trek or Star Wars? Oh boy. So, both. Here we go again. Both have so much going for them. I mean, Star Trek, it's got Spock and Scotty and the Doctor and Kirk and his fistfights and all that stuff and his bad acting or his great acting, depending on how you look at it. And then Star Wars has the Force and that whole spiritual thing and Han Solo and Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt and all of that stuff. So if you're really going to pin me against the wall and make me decide, I would go with Star Wars. I've always said I like Star Wars better. But then we have to take into account those awful prequels. So whatever advantage Star Wars had, did it lose some because of those awful prequels? I think it's probably at least lost a little bit. I can't say that Star Wars is absolutely as cool and perfect and just awesome as it was before or after I saw Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks really screwed things up for a lot of people. And his character was racist. He was a racist character, or a lot of people think he was. I'm not saying that Star Wars is completely ruined. Of course not. I love the new movie, The Force Awakens. Oh man, that was badass. 2 thumbs up. 2 huge thumbs up. I love that movie. And what was the other one? Rogue One. Once again, 2 thumbs up. I fucking love that movie. I can't talk about that. I was about to talk about like one of the last scenes, but some of you guys probably haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to spoil that for you. Go watch that. Go buy it on Blu-ray. Star Wars Rogue One. And then you have the fact that the last couple Star Trek movies weren't all that awesome. The new rebooted series, it's not doing it for me. But I love Voyager. I love The Next Generation. I love the original series. I love all the movies. I mean, how about that Wrath of Khan? Khan! Khan! That's so classic. Khan! Khan! I should just put that in the intro to the show. That should just be it. Just, Khan! Khan! This is End of Days Radio. Khan! In those worm things that they put in people's ears in that movie, oh man. It's just wrong on every level. And you know what's so cool about that? Khan was a character from the TV show, and he came back in the movie for revenge. How cool is that? Like, can you imagine if you were actually an adult at that time? I was a kid, but can you imagine if you got to experience all that? Wrath of Khan. Not only the best Star Trek movie, but one of the best movies of all time, period. Rest in peace, Spock. Rest in peace, Dr. McCoy. Rest in peace, Scotty. Who else died? Rest in peace to all those guys. Final frontier, motherfuckers. This is the final frontier. End of Days Radio. We're going to space together. We're gonna take the Mad Martian, and we're gonna make him fight bare-chested against a Klingon. Because this is the end of days. Okay, let's move on from this. Star Trek, Star Wars. Such a nerd. I'm so ashamed. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about dwarves. You know what I'm talking about, right? Dwarves, little people. In the past, they were called midgets. You see, things have changed quite a bit. The world has changed. Not only are you not allowed to use slanders against gay people or transgender people anymore, but you can't say midget. You can't say dwarf. You can still sort of say dwarf, but they don't really want you to say that either. Now you need to say little person or LP. And there's all these TV shows now, like Little People, Big World, and The Little Chocolatiers, and there's one called like 10 Little Wieners or something, 10 Little Johnsons, something like that. And there's one called it's a copy of the show The Real Housewives of LA, but it's called Little Women of LA. And holy crap, these little dwarf women go at it on this show. Like, they actually like get into physical altercations. It's crazy. I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but if you like drama and you like dwarves and you have not seen this show, what's wrong with you? And I'm not telling you to watch this show because the show's trash. I don't know why I watch it. It's disgusting. It's like lowest common denominator type stuff, but I start watching it and I can't stop. It's like a train wreck. It's like I just gotta see 5 more minutes of these dwarves. And there's this one on right now. It's called like Little Women of LA Summer Camp or Vacation Time or a couples retreat or something like that. And it's crazy. These people are it's just drama all the time. And there's this guy named Matt Grundelhofer or something like that, and he's just the biggest asshole I've ever seen. He's got a girlfriend that's a dwarf, and he treats her like shit. Like, it's not bad enough that this poor woman, her name's Brianna, she's a dwarf. This guy is like emotionally and mentally abusing her. And they're putting it on TV as a sideshow for the world to watch, this horrible abusive situation. And this guy, he's a little asshole, and he's a coward. People put him in his place like every episode. He just keeps coming back, keeps being an asshole. Why am I talking about this? Talking about watching some awful TV show. But I'm just talking about how much the times have changed. It's so strange how much the world has changed. You can't even say midget anymore. You got to say little person, and really that's the right way to do it. I mean, who wants to get laughed at? Luckily, I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm not fat. I'm muscular. I'm tall. I'm normal looking, and even me, I have a lot of insecurities. I have more insecurities than I can count, and I'm not like, there's nothing really wrong with my appearance, or I'm a pretty smart guy. There's not a whole lot to make fun of, but still, I've got all these hang-ups and insecurities, and I can barely function sometimes because I have so many insecurities. I just want to sit there all day and think about them. You know what I'm saying? But how would I ever make it through life if I was a dwarf? I wouldn't. I would have hung myself, and it probably would have been easy because I wouldn't have to be very high up. It would probably be really easy to kill yourself if you're a dwarf, and I'm pretty sure I would have done it. So, big shout out to all you little people out there. That's not easy. It's not easy. And to have people, pat you on the head and laugh at you every day and take pictures and stuff like that, that's gotta suck. I mean, I don't, but at least there's plenty of people to hire for movies like The Hobbit. Actually, I think they use full-size people in that movie, but you know what I'm saying, like Wizard of Oz and, midget wrestling and stuff like that. There's always going to be people for those roles. You guys remember the movie Willow? Badass movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. And the lead was a dwarf. What's his name? Like Billy Barty or something like that? What's that guy's name? I gotta look it up real quick. I hate to slow the show down, but I want to remember what this dwarf's name was because he's such a good actor. Come on. Warwick Davis. I apologize for that. The guy's name is Warwick Davis. And, oh man, this is the same guy that played the Leprechaun in the Leprechaun movies. And Willow was just such a badass movie. Val Kilmer's in that movie. And he's a great swordsman in that movie. And there's a love story in that movie, and it's fucking awesome. And there's even this fucking ugly-ass hairy troll thing, and it transforms into this giant ugly dragon thing, and it's, oh man, that movie's so fucking awesome. But anyways, so Warwick Davis, he's one of the more successful LPs out there, and another one would be Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. Like, what? How cool is that? A guy is actually being taken seriously, not only by Hollywood and those types, but by the entire world, because that show is super popular, and like it or not, he's the most popular character on the show. His character, Tyrion, is the most popular character on the show. In fact, in the books, he dies, but his character was so popular that they kept him on the show, which I'm grateful for. So, once again, big shout out to all those little people out there fighting the good fight. I'm going to go ahead and move on now, but we'll talk about this again. Maybe we might even find a little person that wants to call into this show and be my friend. If you are out there and you are a little person, just know that I'm looking for you, and you might be a good fit for me. We might have an awesome relationship. You could be like my little mini-me. No, wait, that's making fun. I mean, you can be like my consultant to the world of the little one, or the world of the LPs. Hell yeah. If you're out there and you are looking for a show, a podcast to sort of be a part of, and you are an LP, then Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. Or if you know a little person who you think would be a good friend for me in this show, that's Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. Alright, what else do we have going on? I gotta stop doing that. Little annoying things like that I do. So I wanted to kind of go into the whole demons versus aliens thing, like people thinking that aliens are demons or vice versa, stuff like that. But I think I'll save that for next time. I mean, we're going to be on all week, every day. You know that, right? That's right. You are not going to get a break or a rest ever, because you're going to be listening to this show 24/7. You're going to hate me by the end of this. I'm just kidding. Listen as much as you would like to, and listen to the shows that you would like to listen to. If you like listening to every show, if you're part of that hardcore fan base, that hardcore following, then I fucking love you. And it's going to be me and you and some little people one day at our gathering that we're going to have, where you're going to get to meet me and I'm going to get to meet you. And we will have a beer. I'll chug the entire beer in front of you, and you can watch my glorious nature, my beer chugging skills, and we could UFO watch, and we can go hunt for Sasquatch, and we can take some mushrooms, and then hopefully we'll see a UFO or a Sasquatch or a gray alien or a little person. Who knows? But we are going to do that one day. We are going to have our big bash, and I'm going to be grilling. That I can promise as well. I'm going to feed all of you. I'm going to feed all of you. And I know what you're thinking, and don't worry, I won't do anything to the food. I would not do that. What do you think? What do you think's going on here? I would not mess with your food. But we're going to do it. We're going to have a fucking awesome get-together one day. And there's going to be events. There's going to be speakers. Who knows? We might even get that Ramtha down there. You know, that Jay-Z night Ramtha. She's going to want to, anytime she can get paid. Not going to be hard to make a deal with that one. We know what she's into, them greenbacks. Hell yeah. Okay, so what should we call it? Daniel stock, end of day stock? That aside, there are a few other things we need to talk about here. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for the mind-blowing moment of the day? Yeah. You're blowing my mind, man. You're blowing my mind. So today's mind-blowing moment of the day, I'm going to go ahead and say, it's our guest, Adam Gorightly, when he was talking about his LSD UFO experience. That was like the first thing that we talked about today. But I'm going to go ahead and label that the mind-blowing moment of the day, because where he was going, I think, is really important. This whole idea that maybe reality isn't quite as linear as we think that it might be. Maybe our minds and our consciousness does have an effect on what's around us, and vice versa, of course. But maybe there is some kind of thing going on where a pink unicorn could just come out of the sky one day and stand next to you and poke you with its horn and disappear, and it wasn't any less real or more real than anything else. Maybe amazing things can happen. Maybe magic is real. That's right, you're a wizard, Harry. But seriously, magic is real. And I want you all to know that. I want you to go in your basement and I want you to cast some spells of your own. Just don't mess around with Ouija boards. I don't like those. And there's a reason for that. Because Captain Jack is going to get you. You could have a full-blown exorcist situation going on. That's the main reason. But anything else is fine. I mean, tarot cards, that's fine. Some protection spells, you should be doing that. You want to manifest some cashola, some money, some greenbacks, that's fine. You don't have to feel bad for casting spells to make money. I mean, it's probably not even going to work to begin with, right? So why not? Maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll get you focused. Maybe it'll just work. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a sin to be weird in your basement. You don't have to worry. You don't even have to be in your basement. You can be in your bathtub. The guest that was on the day before yesterday, he was talking about just going into the bathroom and doing rituals and spells and stuff like that. Why not? What kind of spell are you going to cast? There's no rules. You know what? One thing that I learned is that there are no rules, and there's something called chaos magic. And one of the big things about chaos magic is you don't have to do things a certain way. You don't have to follow a certain curriculum. Your magic is whatever you want it to be. It could be a collage that you created. It could be some freaking chalk on your sidewalk. It could be a song that you wrote. It could be taking a bunch of hamburger meat and throwing it against the wall. It could be taking a bunch of... Some people like to spray paint stuff and tag locations. That's like a form of magic. Those designs and symbols and letters that you put up there, people are going to see that, and that's going to affect the human unconscious. Everything that you do is a spell. Every breath is a prayer. It's so true. There's no rules. I want you to go out there and I want you to come up with your own type of magic that's personal to you. I want you to create something like I created End of Days Radio. I want you to do that. It doesn't have to be a podcast. A lot of you think that I'm telling you all out there to make podcasts. You don't have to make a podcast. You can do anything. You can write a song. You can write a book. You can create some sort of visual spectacle with LED lights and fireworks. There's no rules. You can use silly putty. You can use string. You don't even have to do anything at all. You can just do it all in your head. You can just do it all in your head through visualization and concentration. You don't even have to mess around with stuff. Some people like to have stuff in front of them so that they can have a visual reference to what's going on. But that's really all it is. You don't have to even have that. But that's what I want you to do. I want you to go out there and I want you to express yourself. I want you to express yourself like you've never expressed yourself before. I want you to rage. I want your heart to be on fire. I want there to be a fire in your heart. And I want you to explode with the fury of 1,000 suns. And I want the entire world to feel your intensity and feel your rage and feel your magic. That's what I want. I want to help you be more like me. I'm just kidding. I would never do that to anybody. Oh boy. Okay, so my iPad battery is running out, and without my iPad, I have no notes. And without my notes, I have no show. So, first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to thank all of you for joining me this evening. Big shout out to our guest tonight, Adam, for coming on. So nice of him. Everybody check out his stuff. Get that Amazon Prime. I love Amazon Prime. Oh my god. 2-day shipping? Are you kidding me? It's free? Free 2-day shipping? I don't know if you all have that in your states, but I have it. And you also get access to... What am I doing? Why am I promoting this shit? And I'll keep going. You get access to the Amazon Prime app on your iPad or phone where you can watch all of the movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Like, they have all the seasons of Frasier. They've got a House of Cards on there. They've got everything. Doctor Who. It's kind of like Netflix, but I highly recommend all of you go out there and get that Amazon Prime. But anyways, enough free commercials for companies that have little to do with me. Remember to subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Ninja Shoes. Subscribe on the TuneIn Radio app to listen to the live show. Look for EODR. It's just EODR in capital letters. There's no picture or anything next to it. It's just EODR. If you want to call into the show, that's 209-348-9810. Once again, that's 209-348-9810, or just add Ninja Shoes 777 on Skype. Like me on Facebook at The Real End of Days Radio. If you want to keep up with the show and know who's coming on, when to attend the live shows, when you can call in, go to endofdaysradio.com. If you're on a mobile device, go to the very bottom. If you're on your phone, it'll be at the very bottom of the page. You'll have to scroll down. If you're on a computer, just look on the left side at the upcoming guest section. If you want to donate to End of Days Radio, big shout out and thank you to all of you out there that helped me purchase this new microphone. I hope that I sound quite a bit better, and I think I have all of you to thank for that and your donations. I put it all aside, and when I had enough money, I pulled the plug, and hopefully I sound a lot better now. So shout out to all of you guys. Every single person that's ever donated to this show. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to donate, go to endofdaysradio.com and click on that PayPal donate link. Help keep the servers up and the lights on. What else? Twitter, YouTube. Oh, next show. Tomorrow. That's August 13th at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I will be joined by Greg Hausch, who is the spokesperson and public ambassador for Anonymous. Ooh, that is scary, is it not? Yes, you will join me, or you can join me, I should say. You will join me. You will do whatever I say. Go to your refrigerator. Fix yourself a grilled cheese sandwich. And eat it. Because grilled cheese makes the world go round, people. But anyways, tomorrow, Greg Hosch, August 13th, 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Mary Gabriel on Monday, that's 6 p.m. The Mandate guys from the Mandate 33 YouTube channel who produced those amazing documentaries, they'll be joining me the very next day, the 15th, which is Tuesday, and Wednesday, Asbjorn Torvald, who was supposed to come on and had to reschedule, he will be joining me. So we have lots of shows in a row. August 22nd, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, I'll be joined by John Stedman. We got Matthew Ellifort on September 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And, of course, we're looking forward to that Halloween Mayhem special. Oh, it's going to get crazy. That's October 31st, 8:30 Pacific Daylight Time. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God, it's actually happening.
What's going on, you fucking sexy slut?
Holy shit, I've been trying to, like, go on your show and trying to get you on this show, and, like, every time, like, something crazy happens, like a meteor hits me in the head or something.
How you been, man? What the fuck is up with you?
just chilling. I mean, as you know, End of Days, it's split into 2 different shows now, and it's all me now, and it's been a challenge, but I'm rocking on.
Hell yeah, man. I still be listening to the stream. You still got control of the stream on, like, Stitcher and everything, right?
Yeah, sort of. Some things went my way, some things went his way, but it all turned into a huge mess, and here we are, still doing it.
Hell yeah. So what the fuck is up with you besides all that garbage? We know about all that garbage. What the fuck? How have you been, man? You been good or no?
Yeah, I've been good. It's been a challenge. When I started doing the show, my idea of the show that I wanted to do was a little bit more like Get Into Corner, where there would be multiple people on. It was kind of like a Howard Stern thing where you have multiple characters on the show, you know, being funny, shooting the shit, doing certain things. I never planned on just doing a show myself like this. So this is something that just kind of happened rather than anything that I set out to do.
Yeah. And normally, you know what, man, that's how shit goes about, too. Shit just develops into what the fuck. It's a portion of what you tried, and you still ride with, you know, the same audience, with the same ideas, and you know what I mean? All you can do is grow from it.
Did you know that we kind of kissed and made up?
No, I'm glad you fuckers did.
Yeah, it took a long time, but yeah, it just happened like maybe a week and a half ago. The big war and the drama, it's finally ended. I guess we're cool now.
Good, man. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know any of that. It's perfect timing for me to come in then.
Yeah.
And because all that bullshit is just bullshit. We're not making money over here. We're too old to be fucking having problems for whatever goddamn garbage, you know. And I don't know the history, but this is my advice, because I've been in you guys' situation before. There's just some people you can be friends with that you cannot do business with.
Yeah, that's well said.
All right, hey, we're creative. We are creative differences, and it's okay. We can still be friends, dude. We connected so much, but it's time that I go this way and move on, and you go that way and move on. You know, I didn't like the fucking, to be honest with you, I didn't like the video with the fucking E.T. mask on or whatever it was. Dude, I didn't like it, man. I even told Max Cole. I was like, yeah, I don't like that, you know. I think that's a little too much.
Yeah, well, what I was doing was I was trying to make it fun, and I can see how it would have been seen and not so fun. So I eventually took it down, but yeah, it was fun at the time. Now it's just kind of like, but it was fun at the time.
Yeah, see, if everybody else knew it was fun, then yeah. That's how it is with jokes, man. Because when you have an audience like that, that you guys did together, you know, and you post something like that, and I know you already know this, and I don't mean to be beating a dead horse. You know, I I love fucking you and I love both you fuckers, okay? But man, fuck all that shit, man. I'm glad you guys are back together. You don't want to fucking put more negative fuel on the fire to be cliche with it. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, well, what was really hard about it, I mean, you know, all things aside, I'm not going to go back into that stuff because it's over. But
yes.
all that aside, you do a show with another person, right?
Yes.
It's you and Doggo.
Yes. And lately it's been Jilumitsu also.
Yeah, I've heard her on there.
Yeah. So she's been the third.
And right after that stuff happened, not to like bring this stuff back up or complain about it or anything like that, but when I would listen to your show after all that stuff happened, all I could kind of think of for a while was, why couldn't we be more like these guys? How is it that they get along with each other so well and they have like this camaraderie where they don't get in each other's way? I actually felt like, fuck, that's the real thing that I wanted. But that sounds kind of weird, but that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, just being honest with you, I was thinking like, these guys fucking
sound weird. Dogger and I have known each other for over 20 years. We've been like tight friends from the beginning for 20 years. So we've been like fucking with each other like this for 20 years. And we stayed like best friends ever since then. That's why it is like that between Dogs and I. Like we can say one word and we know, like he can say one word and I'll know where not to go with my next few statements. It's just because we've been together forever. It's like comics say, you got to have 10,000 hours on stage, or you got to have 10,000 hours put in to be the best ballet dancer. I mean, you've heard what I'm talking about before, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, so the 10,000 rule. Yeah, Dogs and I have been together forever like that, and that's why we are able to do that. Like, I don't know, dude. You know how when you're doing something creative and you just see it immediately in your head? Like you're making a promo, you're making an audio, video thing, and all of a sudden you get that idea and it's like everything in the future is already planned out for you. You already know it, right?
Yeah, definitely. It all kind of comes at once. There's not.
That's how I am with him when I look at him in the eyeball. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that with another person. This is like me and Dog's relationship like that is fucking something unique, especially with how crazy creative we are.
Yeah, so one second you guys are like,
I would never, dude. It takes a lot of bullshit and everything else, man.
Yeah, 1 second it's like you guys are talking about one thing. And then you go into like a song or something, and you're just going. Is that improv, or do you have it written out, or is that just all on the spot?
That's all improv. Hell yeah, everything is improv, bro. We might have some character names that we remember from the last time we podcasted, or I mean, we have written down like characters before and made backstories, but like when we throw to that character, everything else is just off the top.
What day are you guys doing the show now?
Wednesdays. We do live Wednesday nights on, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. You can find it at duckcorner.live. Yeah, man, Max Pohl, our brother Max Pohl, he be coming on there all the time, dude. I got so many good sound clips of his sexy ass saying crazy stuff. Everyone get naked, and it's time to come. Yeah, dude. Dude, we got a lot of good shit from Max, man.
Yeah, I tried to get on your guys's or just listen to your live show one time, and it just so happened that Wednesday where I cleared my schedule and I was like there and ready, and I think like some of the people were in there, like Jill Himitsu was in there. I was like, all right, I'm finally fucking here. I finally made it happen. And that was like the one day you guys did not do a show. I was like, shit.
Oh, for real? Yeah, man. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of pre-production shit lately.
You got to come on here for an interview.
Dude, man, you're more than welcome. All we got to do is schedule something. Like I told you before, all we got to do is schedule something, and that will be set in stone.
Yeah, let's do it. I booked myself like fucking crazy this month, but September, let's do it.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's perfect. Ooh. Yeah, that's perfect for us too, because we're trying to do a lot of pre-production right now, get back on track, so it's just not like so we don't have that 1 millimeter second of I don't know what I'm doing. That's the only way we pre-plan things. Like we have like pre-production of like, all right, we're gonna talk about Dumbass Feud. We're gonna throw it to Gay Elmo, and then Schwarzenegger's gonna come on and play For Real with Friends. And then that's like, that's 3 things that we just like, oh, okay. I know how to set it up. We got it going. Right? As long as all the the music, the production behind it, the throwing up the video where Dogger can put his eyes and his mouth on Schwarzenegger's face and pretend that he's Arnold Schwarzenegger and playing Hollywood squares with people. That's what For Real with Friends is really for us.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember like when we first started, that was like 4.5 years ago at least, more like close. Yeah. And since then you guys have, you guys are already going, but since then you guys have you guys have like 5 times the listeners now at least.
Man, listeners come and go. It is that way. You know what I'm saying? We definitely have a nice following, but when it comes down to a following, I know these guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because like there's people that are like on YouTube and they just talk shit all the time. And then there's people that listen to like every episode and love the show. And there's a big difference between those two groups. Like the people that are doing those little fly-by nasty comments, I don't need to worry about them because they're not really the hardcore fan base. They're not the people that are sitting there like listening on iTunes and stuff like that.
Dude, not even worry about it. You don't pay that shit no mind. Don't even fucking waste one fucking molecule of an energy on that bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, who cares? And usually they're talking about the guests and not me anyway, so who cares?
Oh, dude, no matter what the fuck they're talking about, fuck all that negative shit, man. I don't even look at them comments and honestly, like, dude, if you stick with your same crowd and just keep growing, like, especially production wise.
Yeah, it's tough now.
I'm sorry, I was gonna go a different way, but yeah, dude, fuck comments, fuck random comments on YouTube. That's what I should say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a lot harder now because now we have to do everything ourselves. So, booking gas, coming up with a plan and stuff like that. It's not always easy when you work a full-time job. Like you said, we're not really doing this because we're getting rich off it. it's great if you or anybody else can monetize what they're doing. But at the end of the day, I'm fucking doing this because I love it.
Yeah, exactly. We're next month will be 6 years deep on Get in the Corner.
Oh wow,
yeah, dude. I've spent way more money, or we've, not just me, of course not just me, but we've spent way more money than we've ever made. And we're talking like, if we want to look at it that way, we're probably in the red, 1,500%. If we want to look at it from the 6 year span, yeah, man. We wouldn't be doing this dumb shit. It's a release for us. It's just like you guys, or it's fun, man. You got to keep it fun. And if it's if it's stressful and you're losing relationships over it, man, fuck the dumb shit. Now, okay. I'm kind of getting back to one thing you talked about earlier. You think Dogs and I haven't had a conversation before where it's been like throughout these 6 years where it's been like, you know what, I'm kind of pissed about this. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking pissed about this too. All right. Yeah, this fucking guy over here talking about this in the comments is him in Detroit. Yeah. I don't like that motherfucker. All right. Well, I'm kind of friends with him. I befriended him. Yeah, well, he needs to fucking go. You know what I'm saying? There's always that shit.
Yeah.
I can't just always say 20 years friendship. There's always work in friendships, but the connection that Dogs and I have is something like, I don't know, dude. it's something else.
But really, like, I mean, I don't know why I was obsessed about the whole thing, but I think that what it was is that I don't think that in my life, I've been able to make any friend to that degree where, I'm just being honest, like a 20-year friendship where you guys are still working together. After what happened between me and Mike, that was like the big mystery to me. It was like figuring out what makes these guys tick. How the hell they get along so well, and how they're able to do a fucking radio show without talking over each other constantly.
During that 20 fucking years, you think there's been a couple of years where we didn't talk. There's only been one time where he wanted to beat my ass. Trust me, dude, I'm just a little fucking dude. He could beat both of our asses probably. I don't care how many BJJ and jiu-jitsu, Friday. Like, he gonna whoop our ass.
Is Dogga like a real big, like, scary dude? I mean, I've never seen him. I just hear his voice.
He's one of them dudes that doesn't have to. He can eat Oreos all day, but he just puts on like caveman strength.
Oh, he's one of those. He's got like that old man crazy farm strength. I see what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Dude, there's been one time he was like, "Yep, meet me at Arby's. I'm gonna kick your ass."
Oh, what the hell?
That's how he talked to me. I was like, "Oh fuck, he really wants to beat my ass."
What happened? What? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what was that about?
Holy fuck, dude, it was so stupid. I came up here to DJ a party at his cousin's house, and nobody came. He was like, I don't know, we should have had so many people there, and I brought up some of my buddies from Madison, and it was like, all right, there's no fucking bitches here except for people's girlfriends. You know what I mean? There's not even a sausage fest. It's just like nothing.
It'd be better if it was a sausage fest. Shit.
Yeah, because so I was like, all right, we're going to go to the bar. Me and my buddy's going to the bar. He's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. As soon as I heard that from him, I'm like, oh, shit. Holy fuck, he's pissed. You just know somebody's demeanor. Dogs doesn't get, he's no loud ass, rah, rah, rah. He's just like, all right, I'm going to fuck you up. He's just like, oh, shit. Because the next thing is going to be a punch. And he ain't a little fucking dude.
How did you guys meet each other anyways?
School. Yeah, we went to school together.
Oh, your old high school buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
He was like a year younger than me.
Yeah, that's really special because most people, I would say, don't have any friends left from high school.
Well, see, you always hear something about, psychedelics, help you connect with people. It's even coming out like it helps with depression and everything else. Something major happened in Dog's high school life. He took a bunch of mushrooms, had a bad fucking trip, called me, actually he paged me, bro. He paged me to a pay phone at the Arby's fucking parking lot. Like, man. And after that, dude, I went there and fucking picked him up like a good friend is supposed to.
And he was tripping hard on shrooms?
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So he's tripping hard on shrooms. He's like, fuck, come help me.
Yeah, dude, either I'm going to fucking jump in the bay and just swim until I can't swim anymore, or I'm going to fucking break into fucking Paulson's Hardware and get one of these four-wheelers and drive up north. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sneak out my window.
So what happened was you were there for this guy when nobody else was, and he saw that.
Yeah, man, dude, and and every time after that, he's been there for me when I needed it, and vice versa. I'm like, I don't know, man, I'm blessed to have him in my life, and it's so fortunate that we can be creative with each other. We've always been creative with each other, talking shit, just
Oh man, you guys had me rolling so hard when you were doing that. Like the first day it was like a Hillary Clinton song, and the next day it was like Black Friday. A song about Black Friday.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, man. We was in Black Friday. Man, we was in Walmart, dude. His wife said he had to get the diapers, and I was trying to get the TVs, and I got crushed by some big girls. Because it's Black Friday at Walmart.
So you participate in that.
I'm sorry.
You actually physically participate in Black Friday.
Hell yeah, dude. Them fucking, man, all of a sudden, like, in the song, like, they actually, like, picked me up and threw me around, like, you know how you can body surf people, but since I'm such a little motherfucker, they was, like, chucking me and shit, like Dan Marino and stuff. Hell yeah, man. I went from the produce section all the way to hardware. Quick. Fast.
So where is what's going on next? Are you guys just going to keep broadcasting? Do you have any big specials coming up? What's going on in your world?
Dude, there ain't nothing. Dude, fuck this. This is just a release for us. We're just normal fucking retards. We're not making any money off this.
You know what's funny that you say that? I remember one time I was listening to your show, and all of a sudden you guys start singing, we suck, we suck, we suck, we suck, we suck. I'm like, what the hell? They're just talking about how they suck. Like, what the hell? They don't suck. I mean, you guys are good. What the
Hell yeah, that's the name of our mixtape, man. I should have it on Spotify at least in a year and a half. Sorry that we suck.
Oh my god. Oh fuck. All right, Yuck, man. I gotta go. I actually I actually finished the show and started playing my song, and then you messaged me, so I was like, I switched directions and I brought everything back on air. But,
right on, man. I didn't even fucking try to call you in the first place, but I'm fucking glad I did. I just wanted. I seen you were on Skype, and I was like, hey, it's Saturday night.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's Yuck Nasty. I've been trying to get on this. I've been trying to listen to his show or call in for like a couple months, and something keeps happening. I got an opportunity here.
Man, I'm glad you butt fuckers got back together.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing our own shows now. I mean, I don't think we're going to be friends like we were before, but it's over, and it feels great. I mean, that was a shitty situation.
Some friends you can't do business with anymore, and that doesn't mean you can't be friends still.
Yeah, at the end of the day, what it was is that we both have different ideas of how to do the show, and there's really nothing wrong with that. If at the end of the day we're happier doing our own shows and we're able to express ourselves in the same way, at least we had each other there to help each other get to this point. And I am thankful for that. I had somebody that before I could talk on the air, before I was professional about it like you guys are, or I feel like I'm getting better at now, I couldn't do it. Like our first shows, we had fucking webcams, and there's like 5 minutes of silence.
Yeah, man. I remember talking to you guys. That was, again, man. First way I met you guys was just trying to help you guys. Hey, I think there's something wrong. Dude, all you gotta do is plug something else up. Unplug that mic or something. I think that's how we ended up getting to know each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Some stupid chord was wrong, and we just became friends after that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I have always supported your guys' show, like through thick and thin, because I remember back when we were just a couple of fucking dudes on Twitter, for whatever reason, you just started randomly helping us, and you were there for us when we needed the help for whatever reason, just because you're a nice fucking guy, and I don't forget stuff like that.
Man, of course, man. We can't forget shit like that because, I've done that for other people that I never will talk to ever again. But I always was with you guys. Chat room to chat room, stream to stream, especially on Saturdays, man. I fucking enjoy you guys. Hey, I can still say you guys, even though you have separate shows.
Hey, it's all good. I mean, it's all water under the bridge, and like I said, I'm thankful for everything that happened because it led to where we are now. And when people do things for you and there's nothing in it for them, that's rare because most people are kind of shitty where they want something in return or they want to profit from you in some way. And you guys just helped us for no reason, and that struck a chord with me because it was different than things I experienced in the past.
Yeah, of course. I've sat there and tried to think about how the fuck I even met you guys in the first place. I think I was hooked up with you. You and I were the one emailing each other in the beginning, correct?
Actually, it was you and Michael, and you were helping him with his mixer and his mic, and he was kind of like going back and forth with me as he's like, oh, I just met this guy, Yuck Nasty, and his friend Dogga, and they're helping me with all this shit, and they got this show. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Right. And it took me a long time before I ever listened to you guys. Like, I didn't think that your show would be good because most shows aren't. But then I listened on the ferry one day and I was fucking cracking up and I was like, holy shit. I mean, I knew you were funny, but I didn't think I would be cracking up the entire way through to that degree.
Dude. And all we're doing now is trying to make production tight so we can be even funnier and bring the fucking show to another level. And we'll see what happens. We're not trying to push it on anything, or we're just going to keep pushing it out there because this is exciting for us, for me and Dogs and Jill. This is fun for us. We always had this model, man. If it stops being fun for us, we're done.
Yeah, I agree with your thoughts on that because there are times when it doesn't.
No pressure. There's no pressure here. There's no pressure here, bro. We're not trying to get to the next level. Hey, if we produce some shit, let me fix my soundboard and add these other goddamn sound clips. Hey, if we made this other intro a little bit tighter and actually added some overs, some pre-recorded stuff, bam. There's no pressure here, man. It's not like we should do this because then somebody's going to look at us. Or we should do this because, we might get some more listeners. Fuck if we do, man. Listeners come and go.
Fuck listeners.
Listeners come and go, man. Dude, it's the connections that we keep. And that's something that I was telling both of you fuckers from the beginning, man. Do this podcast, man. Connect with people because, them little things will matter to somebody that, that might make a difference with you guys years from now.
Yeah, it's so crazy because, I'm into wrestling and everything, and I was listening to a podcast
Are you into wrestling?
A little bit.
A
little bit.
I know, baby. Keep going. I'm sorry.
But I'm listening to, I'm pretty sure it was the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show.
Oh, yeah. Good guys.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm listening to that, and I hear Yuck Nasty's voice, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, how many people do you know, and how far have you been around the world?
Hell yeah, man. Gotta keep fucking moving, man. Keep networking. Man, we cannot get a job doing what we're doing, but we can make money.
Yeah, you never know.
Connect with some other people. You might be able to help them out first. And then they'll be like, damn, be undeniable when you help them out free and first. Because then they'll come back at you like, hey, man, you're fucking awesome. Let me hire you. That's what I did.
That's good advice. If you go out there and you are willing to put energy out there to help others, it can come back to you. And that's something we forget.
Bro, that's exactly what I did with same process. I just repeated it. And I have no shame in saying this. First way I got connected with Joe Rogan, Death Squad, and all them people. I was connected with them when I first met you guys. What I did is I fucking I listened, was a fan, heard them assholes say they needed an intro, made a bomb-ass intro, sent it to them the next week. They were floored because it was undeniable.
Okay, so you actually, that's how you kind of broke into podcasting, is you are a producer, you make music and intros and stuff like that. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I've been doing that for 20 years, way before podcasting was even a thing. I was on the radio way back then too.
And that's why sometimes I might hear your voice suddenly pop up in the weirdest places.
Exactly, yeah.
God, that's weird.
yeah, man. I did the same thing with Wrestling Super Them guys, man. I fucking made a hilarious song talking shit about this one chick and how she likes getting stumped. Her boyfriend's peg leg shoved up her bum. Hey, dude, I was undeniable. They fucking loved it. Ended up getting good connection because I'm a humble dude. You got to be humble. Half of being the man is being fucking humble, people.
Yeah. In fact, do you think Doggo would want to come on and both of you guys want to interview and do a get in the corner kind of interview?
Hell yeah, man. His schedule is crazy because he's got like 74 children.
Oh, damn.
No, only 3.
Some condoms or something.
No, only 3. No, like he's only got like Wednesdays available. But dude, let's get it done. All we gotta do is talk about it, and we can fucking make it happen.
Hell yeah!
He's more than willing to come over on a weekend as long as he can.
Yeah, let's do it, and I'll continue to try to make one of your live shows. I'm sure I can make it happen if I try hard enough.
Man, just hit me up in Twitter DMs and let's schedule everything.
All right, cool.
As long as we got a date scheduled, I'll make it happen.
All right, awesome. Maybe you want to come on my Halloween special?
Holy fuck, man. I will do it.
Yeah, let's do that because that's a ways off and that's kind of easier to plan around. So
I just ordered some face paint, some glow-in-the-dark face paint off Wish. I'm going to send you some dick pics, bro.
Oh, thanks. You're gonna pull a Seth Rollins, huh?
Halloween dick pics, bro. It's going down. End of days dick pics radio. Holy fuck, man. Honestly, dude, I love you, man. You already know. Thanks for fucking with me tonight.
Yeah, of course. I'll be in touch, and I'm glad that you called in, and we'll set something up and do an actual full show with an outline and all of that.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks again. Follow me on Twitter, Yucknasty, YUKNASSTY, Instagram, Google me, Get in the Corner, all over Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio.
Wednesday nights.
The Wednesday nights at thecorner.live. If you want to fuck with us, live show, man, thecorner.live, Wednesdays at 9:30 Central Time. Or no, Eastern Time.
Nice.
Yeah, it is
Did you say
Eastern
Easter time?
Yeah, Easter time. Because on the West Coast, they celebrate Christmas time. And I don't understand it. It's Hollywood and pedophilia, right?
Yeah, that's something that we can talk about.
See, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I fucking love all that shit, man. I'm a fucking sponge for that stupid stuff, man.
See, that's why I wanted to have you on, because I want to pick your brain about aliens, Illuminati. I want to pick your brain a little bit about some wrestling, and there's a lot of shit in there, I can tell.
Yeah, man, dude. I've been getting into Courtney versus Kurt. I watched the Stain to Bleach documentary about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain recently.
Ooh. Yeah, I watched that. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know, man. And again, I seen the British guy. You remember the British guy's documentary, Courtney and Kurt or whatever the fuck it was, or Courtney versus Kurt, dude. And I rewatched all them shits. Yeah, dude. I don't sleep much, man. I just lay in bed and watch crazy documentaries on YouTube. Yeah, man. We have lots to talk about.
Did you see the what was it called? The one that his daughter made, Frances Bean. She made a documentary. Did you watch that one?
Oh, no. But I know Frances Bean said she doesn't like Nirvana's music.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off. But if you don't want to get pissed off, don't watch it. But if you just want to like watch everything to do with Nirvana, watch it. It's guaranteed to piss you off if you are a Kurt and Nirvana fan.
Oh, hell yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm a Nirvana fan, Kurt fan. And it's crazy, like, dude, I'm going to watch it because I'm infatuated with that right now. I'm a binge drinker, a binge thinker, binge documentary watching ass motherfucker.
Yeah, there's something I want to tell you about it, but you're better off just seeing it for yourself.
Cool, bro. Man, let's talk about it next time.
All right, yeah, I'll hit you up. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Yuck Nasty.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you, brother. Penis, bro.
Later, penis. Bye. And there you have it. That was Yuck Nasty. Actually hung out on air and went backwards on the closeout so that we could talk to him. But now I'm getting close to 4 hours that I've been on air, and it is really making me so very tired. So this is Daniel coming at you from the end of days. I'm signing out. Oh, I just totally botched my outro. And I'm losing my voice, and I'm slurring my words. Maybe this will help me build up my broadcasting cardio, so it's probably a good thing. But I will see you guys next time.
From the beginning.
And I was shown that that Lucifer would return, that the UN and the Vatican were going to be completely behind it, again, under false pretenses. He's going to show up and say, I'm here to save the day, right? And okay, fine, you know.
Yeah, of course,
ahead,
you can say whatever you want.
But
I've always hated censorship. It's the internet.
Sometimes, you know, once they get you for your first love bite, well, it depends on how aware you are, right?
forgot my bullets. I never had a gun. Here I am left standing. Am I the only one? For what I see, memories have guilted me. I'll never see the sun.
First of all, as you know, the Anunnaki and the Draco are enemies. Second of all, underneath Baghdad was a stargate that was created by the Anunnaki so that they could transfer from Nibiru to the Earth.
I'll never see the sun. I could just end it all, but the demons will have won.
Magical practitioners that, some are good and some use their magic for good and to heal and to help, and others do use it for evil. And, in some cases, people really were
This is too much sometimes.